As we welcome you to Perth Stadium for first versus last, the Collingwood Magpies in town, the ladder leaders, still ahead of Port Adelaide on percentage, up against the West Coast Eagles, looking to avoid what would be a club record for themselves, a 10th straight defeat. They've conceded 100 points plus in their past 8 games. In a weird little stat, the last time these sides met, it was West Coast that emerged victorious. Round 4 last season at the Docklands. They won by 13 points. Worth noting, since that time, the Magpies have won 25 games and lost 7. The Eagles' record could not be starker. They've won just twice for 27 losses. To make matters worse when you're the bottom team on the ladder, losing one of your keys, Tom Barrass, reigning best and fairest premiership player. He's a late out with a hip injury. A 27-year-old with plenty of experience goes out, and a key defender as well, replacing him, Elijah Hewitt, into the team, the 19-year-old, for his 4th game of AFL football. Clint Wilden with you. What will emerge in front of us? Corbin Middlemass is with me. Great to have you back in the West, Corby. Hopefully the game might provide a surprise or two.
Nice to be here, Willie. It is certainly the biggest mismatch in footy, those numbers that you read out off the top. So first versus last. Collingwood are a spectacular show to watch, though. So let's see if they bring their best footy across the Nullarbor.
We've got someone with a foot in both camps today. Collingwood Premiership player, and alongside that, an Eagles grand finalist in Sharry Wellingham, and also making sure that our Pies fans are well represented. Brownlow medalist with Melbourne, but also a former Collingwood player. Shane Woden, welcome to you. Sharrod Wellingham, welcome to you. Very quickly, what are you expecting today?
I think we're going to see a very fast brand of football from the Pies, and it's just going to be a matter of West Coast staying in it for as long as they can. Pies to come away with a pretty decent victory.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with Sharrod there. Looking forward to seeing the Pies live. Haven't seen it, obviously, this year, but and some of the most, best players in the comp right now in Moore, Dacos, Degoe, so they're in good form.
And it's Frampton that's gone to Oscar Allen to start things off. That's an interesting move. What will happen as it's first versus last in the West? Glad you could join us on Grandstand AFL to get us started. Here's Corbin Middlemass.
The all-conquering Magpies and the Eagles in arguably their lowest ebb in club history as the umpire slaps the red Sherrin down in the middle of Perth Stadium, falls without the rucks, hitting it to Kelly, gets the centre break for West Coast, kicks to that outer southern wing, collected by Yo, so the Eagles maintain possession to Gaff, back to Kelly, hurried kick inside 50, and Quaynor up in front of Noah Long takes the intercept mark for Collingwood. The Pies in their predominantly white jumper with the black stripes and the white shorts. And the West Coast Eagles at home in the royal blue with the gold wings. A long kick from Quaynor up to the wing. No mark for Hearn. Spills through to McCreary. Sockers it to Degoe. Hearn lays a big tackle. Ball spits out. Hunt's got it. Kicks to centre half forward. Jamison drops to his knees. Takes the sprawling mark. Hand pass to Sheed. Dishes it off to Kelly. His 3rd touch already. To Gaff. Kicks into the forward pocket. It's out in front of West. It'll sit for Maynard. He's tackled immediately by Waterman and taken to ground. A ball up 30 metres out from the Eagles attacking goal, off to the Farmer Freeway end to start.
In the bright sunshine in the right forward pocket. Small crowd gathering. Jamison takes clean possession. The hand pass was out for West. Can he gather hard up against the boundary? He does. Kicks around the body towards full forward. Back there to Mark and mopping it up nicely. Chance to set up again through Murphy. A couple of the Magpies got the headbands on today. He's one of them. Moore's another who presents himself in the right back pocket. The kick is beyond defensive 50 from Murphy. Cox flew. Williams with him. Gathering it long. Broke the tackle for the Eagles. Hand passes back. Got it on towards Duggan. Then back to Long again. Kicks into the left forward pocket. Flying up Murphy. Couldn't mark. Spill down to Moore. Under pressure. Knocked the ball back. Murphy slapped it towards the boundary line. Eagles appealing for deliberate. They'll ask the question. They won't get it. It's going to be thrown in the left forward pocket.
Great start from West Coast, able to lock it in their forward half so far. Good intensity.
Just the one late change, so Barrass out of the West Coast Eagles team. Hewitt gets the start. No late change for Collingwood, and Harvey Harrison makes his debut off the bench. As Cameron wins the hit out, pack forms straight at his feet. Jamison extracts it for West Coast. Hand pass to Kelly, another disposal early. Kicks to the top of the goal square. No mark for the Eagles. Mitchell forces it down. Hand pass to Moore. He went without it. Has to rush it through for a minor score, the first of the day. So positive start for West Coast. 16 disposals to 5. And it's the Eagles who lead it by a point. 2.5 minutes in. Small wins for the home team.
All about the achievable goals for West Coast today. Cash Fodadar is downstairs. We'll join him in just a moment as Nick Dacos with the kicking duty sends it long towards right half back. Williams front position. Umpire spots an arm being chopped. It was the Eagles' way. Hoff takes the advantage to Sheed. Tackled by Adams. Umpire says holding the ball. Not what you want in your milestone game. Just took a little bit too long. Adams gets the free kick in the right back pocket for Collingwood. The Eagles lead by a point. 3 minutes gone in the opening term.
Tay Adams heads down the members' wing. Hearn flies for it, no mark, spills to Cameron, the lad from Albanese. He tumbles a kick into the front half for Collingwood. Hitting up Bazzo, hand pass away to Tim Kelly. Had it on a string in the first 5 minutes, got it away to Hunt. Hand pass to Duggan, but he's under pressure. Slung to the ground by McCreary. Held up, and the umpire says, I'll have it.
Close call, that one, wasn't it? Well, they just held with care there, really, then, and looked after him.
Definitely didn't put all that force in that sling, did he?
Eagles with the opening score. The umpire is waiting to set up the stoppage and the two rucks. It's Williams here. He gets the hit out for West Coast. Down to DeGoey. He's tackled, dispossessed. And Josh Dacos feeds a hand pass down to half forward. It's out of play. So a throw in 60 out from the Pies goal. Now this year so far, Clint, Collingwood have won every quarter in a game only once. That was Mother's Day against GWS. The Eagles have lost every quarter 5 times this year. So maybe talking about small wins, let's see how many quarters the Eagles can edge out this afternoon.
27-9 in terms of total quarters as the Eagles see the ball back over the boundary line. It'll be thrown in again. 55 out from Collingwood's attacking goal. Collingwood won 7 opening terms this year. West Coast just the 2. Has been their most competitive quarter, though. Thrown back in. Cameron got a tap away. A holding decision going the way of the Eagles. They've got it at left half back. It'll go to the opposite ruck in Williams. He glances inboard for a moment, then will kick to the shadows in the commentary wing. Jamison battles against Moore. Up! Murphy from the side couldn't mark down, and Nick Dacos gave it on to Moore. Bounces a kick down the line. This will be an interesting decision. Deliberate. Insufficient intent against Collingwood. West Coast will have it at left half back. Akash Fodadar, what are the conditions like downstairs?
It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon for football down here, Clint. About 18 degrees and clear blue skies. Not a breath of wind either.
Thanks to Cash. Hoff got it to Sheed. He kicks down the wing but overcooks it. Collingwood win it back. To Goey, to Mitchell by hand. Now to Josh Dacos. Kicks it deep forward. Cox leading back to the goal square. Caught wrong-footed. And Hearn takes the intercept mark for the Eagles. Short to Sheed. Sheed will poke the pass to Jinby. A lot to like about this lad. He's got it at centre half back. Goes on a bit of a run out wide. Kicks to Tim Kelly and he marks in front of the benches. Disposal 6 coming up. A leader on the ground through the first 6 minutes.
Here's Kelly stabbing the pass short. Stretching West. Got hands to it. Should have marked it. Spills it over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in left half forward for the Eagles.
Connor West has a defensive role on Nick Dacos at half back. He's mindful of him, playing him from back shoulder.
All spun back in. Williams up against Cameron. Williams won it down for the Eagles. Kelly tried to gather. Sheet off the ground to Jinby. Now towards Williams. The ruck breaks a tackle, then kicks inside forward 50. Well read Murphy. Out to take the mark on his chest between fullback and centre half back. No change to that score. The Eagles by a point. 6 gone in the first.
Flares it wide to Noble. He kicks along the boundary line northern side. Finds McCreary up over halfway and Cameron marks as well in front of Foley. Darcy Cameron looks for Ash Johnson. Takes the mark. High half forward. Looks inside the forward pocket. Honours the lead of Majacek. He's got it. Up against the boundary line, 20 metres out. He'll have a look at the sticks here for the Pies.
Built that ball up well. Off half back, off the intercept. Inside their forward 50, West Coast.
This man's been on a charge, goal kicking wise the last month or so. He's kicked 17 in the last 5 games. Now on the top 10 list, a goal kickers in the competition. Goes with the drop punt. Ordinarily a very nice kick of the footy. Tight angle, misses. Near side, so a behind each to start. 7 minutes in, just repeating that late change. Barris out, Hewitt in to the West Coast Eagles 22. Clark and Markov, the two subs.
Harrison on debut on the ground.
Hearn on a run to Hoff. Dangerous. Josh Dacos almost able to get there against Hoff, who then asks the question, should Dacos go back? Officials let Dacos trot back. Josh Dacos stands on the mark as Hoff runs to his right, then kicks, wobbly looking kick towards the commentary wing. Allen got hands down to Kelly, lost the footy. Jimmy trying to gather. Petrocelli does. Hand pass on the bounce. Beautifully read. Hewitt hands it off again. This is O'Neill. Into the middle of the ground go the Eagles to Hearn from the centre circles. Puts it out towards Gaff. Marking in the sunshine just forward of the wing. He's got options everywhere and pauses for a moment. Running behind him, Foley receives it. The kick goes into the right forward pocket. Hoskin Elliott always in best position. Marks defensively in the left back pocket for the Pies. One behind apiece. 8 gone first term.
Kicks to Myercheck at half-back. No mark. Hits the deck. McCreary gets rid of Hewitt. Hand pass inboard to Crisp. Sharp hand pass away to Pendlebury to DeGoey. Slips out of the would-be tackle from Witherden. Chips the ball down that outer wing. Myercheck's onto it. High half forward. Runs, carries, looks for Johnson. But Bazzo stands in front. Takes the intercept for West Coast. And immediately flares it to half-back. And Brady Hoff takes the mark for West Coast.
Comes towards O'Neill, who marks it left half back.
We've got West, who also looks like he may have injured his knee in that contest on the forward flank.
Off cross half back, finds Witherden. Head downstairs in a moment. Oh, Witherden's had a mare early on. The kicks into Johnson. Johnson gathers. Witherden forces him to hand pass quickly away to Josh Dacos. Pops a hand pass into the right forward pocket. Adams, he's got options everywhere. He stabs it short. And a chance for the Magpies to go back and have a shot from no more than 35 out. And a man in his 200 consecutive game, Crisp, will be kicking on goal from 45 out. A cash Fodder downstairs.
Yeah, Connor West has just limped off. It was a collision. I think a bit of friendly fire on that outer side where he had his leg taken out from underneath him.
Costly turnover, couldn't it?
Here comes Crisp. Kicks on its way. He franks his milestone with a major. Just the 6th player, 200 consecutive games. And he gives the Magpies the lead at the 9-minute mark of the opening term. They're 1-1-7. The Eagles one behind on Grandstand AFL earlier today. A big win for the Power over the Hawks. Their 9th straight victory for Port. They beat Hawthorn by 55 points. Our experts here at Perth Stadium, Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden.
It really is an amazing effort, isn't it, from Crisp?
Oh.
200 consecutive games. And I really just love the way he's improved from the time he transferred from Brisbane. He's got better and better and better as the years have gone on. Not only has he played 200 consecutive games, but he's gotten better the whole time as well. It's really, really impressive.
I think he'll beat Jimmy's record.
Yeah, so 244, the all-time mark. To think about the things in recent years you could miss for. Shortened seasons during COVID itself,
Yep.
you know, your roll at ankle, whatever it may be, to think 200 weeks in a row he's been available.
Not only the resilience to be able to back it up, but play at the level required as well.
Not to get dropped. It's a phenomenal run in modern footy. As Clint said, what a way to start his milestone with the first goal of the game. Secondary bounce back in the middle, and West Coast are going to get the breakaway as it comes to Duggan. Kicks to centre half forward. No mark. Spills down to Murphy. Hand pass under pressure. Finds Noble. Noble threads it through to DeGoey, but there's a free kick coming back. And Oscar Allen tackles Noble a little high.
Didn't look good on Connor West, did it? Could be a PCL, MCL.
Just that body straight in of Hewitt, straight into his lower leg, and just looked like it may have almost hyperextended type thing, wasn't it?
Noble out wide to Frampton. And then kicks along in front of the benches, and Mason Cox in game 101 arrives late to come and take the mark. And immediately looks inboard back to Noble, defensive side of the wing. Collingwood by a goal, 12 minutes in.
Runs into the shadows. And switches play. Comes out towards Murphy. Murphy from just inside his defensive 50. Sends it to left half back to Quaynor. Stabs down the line. Josh Dacos marking. Had a metre in from the boundary. Southern side of Perth Stadium. Kicks to Mitchell, who's on the logo. Has to shield his eyes from the sun. Rare afternoon game on a Saturday here in the West. They'll move it short again. This is Pendlebury. Again pauses. Dacos has had it 5 times so far, leads Collingwood's in disposals. Pendlebury on a little bit of a run. Hewitt runs beside him. Pendlebury kicks inside forward 50. Stretching for it, Myercheck. Spilled back towards Mason Cox, and he's tackled the ground by Duggan. Now there is a height mismatch. Nonetheless, the Eagles defender able to take him to ground. Will have a ball up, still inside the left forward pocket for the Magpies. They lead by 6 points, nearly 13 gone in the opening term.
Umpire chucks it up. Cox wins it down, but straight to his opposing ruckman, Jamison. His kick smothered. Nice work from Crisp. Comes out to De Goey. Clever tap inboard. Duggan, though, for the Eagles. Hands it to Gaff. Kicks out of the defensive arc, and Josh Dacos picks it off. High half forward for Collingwood. Crowded forward 50 at the city end of the ground. Concern for Connor West on the Eagles bench. He lays it up to the hot spot. Cox and Johnson in the pack, leaping up. Spills down to Jamison. Hurried handball to Rotham. G gives it to his teammate, who's immediately under the pump. Spun around in the tackle. We'll get a ball up. It's Duggan who'll stand up with the Sherrin. And a ball up here. 12 metres out from the Collingwood goal. Pies lead it by 6.
Cox taps it back into the corridor. Inman can't take it. Good battle here. Mitchell goes charging in as well. Ball still on the deck. Umpire will ball it up. Desperate stakes. Eagles trying to defend their goal. Collingwood on the attack. It's a slow time to get up off the ground as the players try to extricate themselves. First Mitchell, then Ginnivan, finally Yo, last man up. And the ball up. Cox tapped it back into the corridor again. Met by Crisp. Tackled to ground. Ball spilled out. Hewitt couldn't take it cleanly first time. Collingwood arrive in numbers to lock it in again.
By West Coast, not giving away free kicks in this dangerous part of the ground.
Cox and Jamison go at it once more. Neither with the tellings up. De Goey tried to go through. Jamison puts himself over the top of the football, and it's held to him. So it will stop and start again inside forward 50. Magpies leading by 6. 14 gone in the first.
Chucks it up once more. Repeat stoppages here inside 50 for Collingwood. One down, though, to Hewitt, who backs it into the middle of the ground for the Eagles. Won't sit for them, though, as Moore grabs it. Kelly's got him. Big tackle. Ball up in the middle of the, Perth Stadium. It's Collingwood by 6 points. A cash on the boundary.
Connor West has now gone down into the rooms to have that lower leg looked at.
Kelly comes off the ground. He's had 7 disposals, leads all comers so far as Cox gets possession for the Magpies, kicks towards centre half forward, punched down by Duggan, chases up, but Dacos got there first of the Josh variety. Kick towards centre half forward, emerging with it Chris from the outside of the left, bounced it towards full forward, Ginnivan clever, tapped it for the Goey to run onto. He tried to snap around the body from the right forward pocket. He's missed the lot. Couldn't get it to curl at all. Hit the fat part of the footy, went straight, although very wobbly, and it's out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Eagles at left full back. They trail by 6 points. 15 gone in the first on Grandstand AFL.
Hunt brings it in to Foley, and then Foley switches all the way to the right back pocket for Hacksaw Liam Duggan. He chips it short to Hunt. Hunt short kick up to the wing, and Petruccelli marks. Still on the defensive side of halfway. Pies with the only goal through the first 15 minutes. Kick from Petruccelli. Finds O'Neill. Hand pass on the inside to Gaff. Gives it to Sheed. Handball back in the middle to Petruccelli. Short kick to Jaden Hunt. Marks high half forward. Moves it out wide. Running onto it, Waterman. Collects by his bootlaces. Kicks to the goal square. G. Cox dropped the sitter. Falls down to Jamison. Hand pass to Yo. He's under pressure. Noble's got him.
Should have snapped it.
A ball up top of the goal square for the Eagles.
Opportunity there. He got a little bit flustered, but Jamison was in the right spot at the right time.
Good build up by West Coast.
Allen and Cox lock up. Chance of the goal line. Jimby throws his boot at it. Moore with the goal-saving effort. Manages to usher it through.
Just didn't flush it, did he?
Ford needed to
just off the side of the boot, wasn't it?
Straight in the back of the net. He wasn't able to do so. 5 points, Collingwood's lead. So 1-1 to 2 behinds. On the back of the Jimby behind. 16 and a half gone opening term.
Started well, West Coast.
Yeah, they're in the fight, which is good.
Darcy Moore, the bright orange boots, the headband on, kicks beyond defensive 50. Going up Frampton in the pack, spilled down out the side. Debutant Harrison involved as the Magpies go across half back. Frampton to Mitchell, now to Nick Dacos, flares it out to Josh. Josh Dacos marks and plays on. Kicks quickly towards Quaynor, marks just shy of centre wing. Southern side of the ground, back towards Murphy, marking defensive point of the centre square. Moves it back into the shadows. This is Moore. Goes up the middle. The mark taken by Pendlebury. Pauses for a moment. Look to the left. Will now get told to play on. Not immediately sure where to go. What will he do? He'll put it deep inside the forward 50. 2-on-2 battle. Up was Hunt. Won it down for the Eagles. Foley couldn't take it cleanly. Gaff tapped it back to Witherden. Kicks beyond defensive 50 towards right half back. It'll tumble over the boundary line. This will be interesting. Ball in. Umpire said enough players in the vicinity. And so it's a throw in instead. 1-1-7 the Magpies. 2 behind the Eagles. 18 gone in the opening term.
8 inside 50s each to start. Eagles hanging with the Pies here. You see the biggest mismatch you could find on the table, that 1 and 10 Eagles up against the 10 and 1 Pies, and the boundary throw in comes down to Williams. It's a little shallow and immediately taken high in the tackle from Mitchell, so a free kick for Bailey Williams.
It's a terrible throw in.
Yeah. We'll get it on the southern wing, playing alongside Jamison today. Jamison just his 13th match. They played 12 of them together. He kicks long down the wing. Allen in the pack. Doesn't mark but follows up. Hand pass for West Coast. Out to Sheed. Goes back by hand to Foley. Kicks a high ball inside the forward 50. Oh, back with courage is Murphy.
Great Mark Murphy back and back there, wasn't it?
That's what he does, and rips the headband off in the process after taking the pack mark on the intercept. He lays it off to Noble, and Noble kicks out wide to Josh Dacos. Marks at left half back. Collingwood by 5 points. 19 minutes in. 1-1 to 2 behinds.
Here is Josh Dacos. That's a beautiful kick. It was low, flat, quick. Found Crisp, who marks. Towards left half forward. Mychek stretched. Racing onto it. Hill takes a bounce. Bobby takes a second. Inside forward 50. Steadies himself. Works himself onto the rights. And kicks the goal. What a beauty from Bobby. Collingwood have their second. 2-1-13. West Coast 2 behinds, 19 gone in the opening term on Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium. Our experts Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden.
Well, he's had a good year too at the moment, Josh Dacos, but right now he's had 9 possessions in his first quarter and nearly 200 metres gain. He's been really important and he's had a great start, and again there with his foot skills just to be able to set up his teammates.
Akash Fodder on the boundary.
Yeah, the West Coast sub Greg Clark has taken his warm-up top off, so it's only a matter of time now until he actually enters the field of play. I think that means Connor West's day is done.
He was goalless last week. Bobby Hill kicked the first goal of the game in the 2 games previous. He's got the second goal today, for whatever that's worth. Collingwood 2-1, West Coast 2 behinds. Approaching time on in this opening turn. Back in the middle comes down to Nick Dacos. A loose handball, turnover. Williams for West Coast kicks to centre half forward. Waterman tries to knock it away from Maynard. Maynard just slaps it back in the middle of the ground. Cameron has it. He's bowled over. Ball spits out. Nick Dacos knocks it down to Mitchell. Hand pass to Crisp, and here's Collingwood running with numbers here. Handball back to Mitchell. Kicks to centre half forward. Myercheck. Strong mark in front of Rotham. Wants to go immediately. Mason Cox unmarked. Hangs onto it just outside the goal square, 15 out, right of centre.
It's a good call ball watching there, the West Coast defenders. Mason Cox sitting out.
Off the turnover as well, you could just see Pies having so much confidence in the turnover and spreading to make space really early, just reading the play.
Mason Cox moves in, just inside the left-hand goalpost, squeezes it through. And a 3-goal outburst for the Magpies. They built an early lead. Time on in this opening term. 3-1 to 2 behinds. It's the Pies by 17. Shane Woden, Sharad Wellingham.
Well, part of the game West Coast are doing really well in at the moment right now is clearance. They're plus 10. But the inability to score from these clearances is what hurting him too. So as Sharad just mentioned then too, the ability of turnover, that the Pies are about to win that contest behind the ball and then go.
And, you know, just then I just noticed Tom Mitchell doesn't track back super hard into the defensive contest because he knows that the defenders and the other mids are going to go and win that ball, create the turnover, and then they can find space. That transition can happen very easy if you have that confidence in your teammates.
Substitution official too. Clark is on, West is off for the West Coast Eagles, and they lost Tom Barris. There's a late out with a hip injury as well. Elijah Hewitt, the late inclusion. They get the free kick to restart here as Adams Works it out to Mitchell. Hand pass running by his Dacos. Nick Dacos off the side of the boot. Sat there for Pendlebury. Got it back. Nick Dacos snaps around the body. It'll bounce. Goes over the top of a despairing effort from Hoff, but it's through for a goal. Floodgates have opened. As we head towards quarter time, Collingwood have now kicked 4 unanswered goals. 4-1-25 to the Eagles, 2 behind. 22 and a bit gone in the opening quarter on Grandstand AFL.
That's why he's so good. So he starts at half back. He's had a slow start in the first quarter, then injects himself into the midfield. Starts to get his hands on the ball, and in that passage of play, he's had 3 or 4 touches just by purely work rate.
Yeah.
Get the contest, go again, get a handball received, go again. And he's on the end of it, and Lucks to Fortune gets a good bounce.
He is in a really, I suppose, great position at the moment where he can sit behind the ball to start with, and he is able to jump in the mids if he is getting kind of sat on and getting taken out of the game a bit. It's a really fortunate position that he's able to read the game so well and just pick where he needs to be. It's extremely good from a second-year player.
Led the coach's votes for most of the year. He's fallen behind in that race. Zach Butters overtaking him. Got votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year earlier today. Butters as well. Back in the middle, Williams palms it down to Sheed. Long kick inside the forward 50. Bounce out in front of Jamison. Moore knocks it away from him, but into the path of Hewitt. Puts on the Jets. Purse away. Hand pass to Kelly. He was dealt with after getting rid of the footy. Advantage applied. Gaff kicks it inside 50, and Jamison takes the mark out wide. He's a little slow to get up as well. Elijah Hewitt, the late inclusion for Barras. After getting the handball away, it was De Goey who laid the bump.
Yeah, he's in strife too, De Goey.
Hit him high.
Yep.
And Hewitt is still down with the trainers, so this is not good for Jordan De Goey. He's having a career season. It's certainly not good for Elijah Hewitt, who's very sore.
Yeah, elected to bump.
The Perth Stadium crowd seeing the replays on the screen. De Goey, who is in all-Australian form, has just picked off.
He's left the ground too.
Yep, the young Elijah Hewitt and the 19-year-old taken high.
Didn't need to do it either.
Yeah.
Just come in and tackle him.
Elijah's attack on the footy then, and his ability to scoop up that loose ball was really, really impressive. Good to see him walking off on his own accord as well.
Pushes the trainer away, runs off the ground to the dugout. As Jamison kicks Garwood. It's on target but a little short. They all compete on the line, and Nick Dacos is ushered over the line by O'Neill. And a behind for West Coast. They've got 3 of those. Collingwood 4-1-25, a 22-point lead for the Pies. 25 gone opening term, but Hewitt receiving that high bump from De Goey, and I'm sure that'll be one to be looked at from Jordan De Goey's perspective.
Nick Dacos sent it towards left half back. Collingwood couldn't keep it in. Off hands, Darcy Moore, and over for a boundary throwing. 52 out from the Eagles' goal. Right sunshine, right half forward for West Coast.
We're having a week or 2 off.
Tap was one down by Cameron. Straight to Kelly, though. Couldn't take it cleanly. Merging with it, Pendlebury. Hand pass up in the air. Intercepted by Yeo for the Eagles. Goes to Foley. Goes back to Duggan. Bounces the hand pass along the ground. Stolen by Josh Dacos. Gave it to Pendlebury. Collingwood away. Comes to De Goey. You can guess that by the cheers. To Josh Dacos, or the jeers. His kick was meant for Johnson. Couldn't gather. Down to Mitchell. Kicked around the body. Inside forward 50. Mychek allowed it to bounce. Taken by McCreery. Goes back. Snapping around the body. Oh, it's tumbled through. And on debut. Or not quite. It's hit the right-hand goalpost. Very close to a goal on debut to Harvey Harrison. Wasn't far away. Snapped from the right. Looked like it was heading through and then took a right-hand turn right on the goal line to hit the right-hand goalpost. 23 points the margin in favour of the Pies.
Witherden long straight down the pot to Williams. Lays it off to Kelly. Kicks out to the northern wing. Jamison can't mark. Knocked away underneath. Crisp, and a pack forms on the wing. A ball up. So he joins the exclusive club friend of the first kick, first poster. I don't know if they get together to celebrate it all, that group, but Harvey Harrison, Double H, is now part of that. Back on the wing, the Eagles burst away from the stoppage through Yeo. He kicks a hurried ball inside 50. Allen tangles with Moore. Moore wins it. Comes down to Murphy. Collingwood away with the footy. Hand pass to Quaynor. Kicks up to the wing. Johnson's got 2 to beat, and he does. In between Witherden and Jimby, takes the mark. Lays it off to Crest. Kicks down to Hill. It's Bobby Downhill. He turns and kicks to the open goal face. He's got it. diving effort on the line to try and save 6. Rotham at full stretch. We're headed to the video. But Bobby Hill, I think he may have just snuck it past the outstretched hands of Rotham on the line. The umpire's call is a goal. And now the video will have to try and help Josh Rotham.
That looks like it may be touched.
He's just got a hand on it. Well, that is the ultimate goal saver by literally a fingertip.
I'm not sure if he was going for McCreary.
Caught in two minds a little bit, wasn't he?
I reckon he was. I reckon he half kicked it. He had my check on the lead on the hit up.
So 4-3 to 3 behinds. Collingwood by 4 goals neat. 28 played opening quarter.
I think he was trying to go for McCreary and just a little pop into space in the back lead.
Hearn to Witherden. The Eagles with it in the left back pocket to Sheed in game 150. Marky where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary line. Go beyond that to left half back where it's now in the hands of Kelly. A great start to proceedings with 9 disposals already. This will be his 10th into double figures with the kick to the commentary wing. 2-on-2 battle. Allen did well. Won it down from the side. It came to O'Neill. Now to Sheed. Operating through traffic and popping it short back to Allen, who marks it left half forward. Hands it off to Jindy. Kicks around Quaynor. Will send it towards left full forward. Up is Jamison. Great play from Noble. Was in front position. Was able to get a hand to it and tap it over the boundary line for a throw-in. A cash followed up quickly downstairs.
Yeah, Elijah Hewitt's now gone down to the rooms with the doctors to be assessed.
So copying a late bump from Jordan De Goey, if you've just joined us, De Goey in all-Australian form, and he's going to be in trouble for that late hit for the boundary throw-in. Cameron gets the hit out down to Duggan, hands it out to Gaff. Gaff's hand pass out the back of a pack of bodies, comes to Long, hand pass away to O'Neill, handball to Yo against the boundary line, gives it back to Duggan, hooks the kick from the pocket to the top of the goal square. Moore, double fister, knocks it away, but straight to Foley, runs into Harrison. Adams lends a hand in the tackle and they lock him up. The Pies win the footy back at centre half back, and it'll be Harrison to get it for Collingwood. He kicks out wide to McCreary, who marks between wing and half back. Collingwood, the only 4 goals in the game, so they lead it by those 4 goals. 29 gone, opening term.
Williams flew, tried to took an enormous mark. Couldn't quite get there, was able to bring it down. Umpire spotted a free kick. The Eagles will take the advantage. Came through Sheed. Now the Jinby. Coming out to O'Neill. Just shy of the commentary wing. Not a great kick down the line. It might bounce okay for Gaff. Frampton got in the way. Couldn't take it cleanly. Yo scoops it up. Murphy tackles him over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in. 50 out from the Eagles' goal. Left half forward. West Coast heading to the Farmer Freeway end in this opening term. Half an hour now gone. Collingwood leading by 24. 4 goals, their advantage. Thrown in again. Cameron, a touch on it. Bounce back to him. Jamison tackles him. Cameron got a hand pass out. Yo couldn't gather. O'Neill tackled by Chris. Was into his back. Umpire says it's okay as Mitchell goes in as well. Ball up the call. Left half forward. 55 from the Eagles attacking goal. 4-3 plays 3 behinds. 31 gone in the first.
Up it goes. Both rucks miss it in a tangle. Hoskin Elliott just sockers it out of midair. Up to the wing. Myercheck pushes off 1, pushes off 2, grabs the footy. Hunt's got him. Got a little overconfident, the big forward. Pushed a couple away, and Jaden Hunt said, come here, as he locks him up and wins the footy on the wing. Kicks the Eagles inside forward 50. They all compete. Long stays down. Hand pass to the sub Clark. Handball back to Foley, who kicks goalward on the bell. And that'll do us to quarter time. The kick didn't get there. There's more marks in the goal square. And the West Coast Eagles have their 5th goalless quarter of the season. 0-3. Up against the ladder leaders, the Magpies 4-3-27. A 24-point lead for Collingwood at quarter time. All individual goal kickers, one for Hill, Crisp, Nick Dacos and Cox.
Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and of course now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button. This is Grandstand AFL.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
Breakdancers all around the world are preparing to send a B-boy and a B-girl, hopefully, to Paris next year.
No one could sing like Tina. and it was suggested we try and get Tina.
It's like a pantomime. The home crowd cheers wickets, hoping for MS Dhoni to come out to bat.
It's a daily sports conversation and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Johnson gathers with it and forces him to hand pass quickly away to Josh Dacos. Pops a hand pass into the right forward pocket. Adams, he's got options everywhere. He stabs it short. And a chance for the Magpies to go back and have a shot from no more than 35 out. And a man in his 200 consecutive game. Here comes Chris. Kicks on its way. He breaks his milestone with a major. Now Chris, who marks. Towards left half forward. Mychak stretched. Racing onto it. Hill takes a bounce. Bobby takes a second. Inside forward 50. Steadies himself. Works himself onto the rights. And kicks the goal. What a beauty from Bobby. Works it out to Mitchell. Hand pass running by. Here's Dacos. Nick Dacos off the side of the boot. Sat there for Pendlebury. Got it back. Nick Dacos snaps around the body. It'll bounce. Goes over the top of a despairing effort from Hoff, but it's through for a goal.
It's Bobby downhill. He turns and kicks to the open goal base. He's got it. Diving effort on the line to try and save 6. Rotham at full stretch. We're headed to the video. He's just got a hand on it. Well, that is the ultimate goal saver by literally a fingertip.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Earlier today, Port Adelaide recorded a 9th straight win, the first time they've done so in the Powers' history in the AFL. 23-13, 151 to Hawthorn, 14-12, 96. Port by 55 points. Here at Perth Stadium, it's last versus first. The Eagles hosting the Magpies as expected. The Magpies in front, but they have been challenged at times despite the scoreline. 4-3, 27 Collingwood. West Coast with just the 3 behinds. What about experts made of it? Shane Woden and Sharad Wellingham.
Oh, look, I've been reasonably impressed by West Coast. They've had a lot of effort. They've had some good numbers around the ball. The clearances, like you mentioned, Wowie, they've been really good coming out of the quarter, 14-4, so they're 10 up in the clearance. I think that they're just lacking polish, lacking that high-end, I suppose, finish, because they've had it in their forward 50, plenty of opportunities down there. But the good thing from a West Coast point of view is they are getting it in there. They're winning some clearances. They're going to give themselves a couple of shots. Now, if they aren't able to capitalise on that, then that's a whole different scenario with what we're looking at from West Coast. That's a later problem. The fact that they're able to get it down there at the moment is impressive for mine. From the Collingwood point of view, I think that they're just too quick, too classy, and their experience that is out there is just shining. I think even though they are losing the clearances, like we mentioned, they're able to know that they're going to turn it over in that back half, and it's spreading really effectively from there.
Yeah, absolutely. West Coast can hold their heads high, and I think Simo would be pretty positive at the break right now. They're about to get it in there. They're +1 inside 50s. Just effectiveness and efficiency when they do go in. They're sort of like just long bombing it in the moment with...
It's almost like they're surprised they've managed to get it in there a little bit.
Yeah, with Murphy and Moore right now dominating aerially. They're just killing the contest, and out they go. And it's an inexperienced back line, really, for West Coast from a tall's point of view. They're not big forwards, Collingwood. They do work extremely hard, but 13 inside 50s for 4 goals, 3, so they're going at 50%.
Yeah, that's
which
not
is
great.
It's not great from a defensive point of view for West Coast, but again, doing a lot right. Clearance going well, just not able to score from those right at this present
point.
And
I was reasonably impressed with the way they were able to transition the ball as well. They obviously didn't go from end to end and score, but they were able to move the ball from their defensive half all the way to their forward 50 a couple of times there, which is impressive up against the team that are top of the ladder.
Corbin Middlemass has got all the other numbers. Corbin?
Tim Kelly, a game high 11 possessions for West Coast, 10 for Dom Sheed, 7 for Gaff, and then 6 for a bunch of players, including Jaden Hunt, Bailey Williams, Xavier O'Neill, and Callum Jamison on his return. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, Josh Dacos leads the way with 11, 10 for Tom Mitchell, and then 7 each for Nick Dacos. And for Nathan Murphy, as sort of while we outlined the inside 50 count, interestingly, West Coast way, 14-13. The Eagles 6 more disposals. The tackle count with Collingwood +3.
Greg Clark, who made his name in the WAFL as an inside mid, went straight to Jordan De Goey and gave him a push and shove after the bump that he had. Big bump it was to an Elijah Hewitt. No doubt that De Goey will be in a bit of strife when the MRO hands his decision down. And what will come from that sometime tomorrow. Second term about to start. Magpies lead by 4 goals over the Eagles in Perth. Good bounce. Williams wins the tap down out to De Goey. Almost broke through the Williams tackle. Got a hand pass away. Moved to Adams. Kicks Collingwood inside their forward 50 at the very top of the arc. It's marked by Myercheck.
20 metres off him, Rotham. But even again, the West Coast mids just all probably ball watching too much.
Taylor Adams 5 or 8 metres outside, forward of the stoppage, or
Correct.
forward of the contest, and just
someone's got to
pop
hold
up sprinkler. You just got to be able to recognise that person, not like they're sneaking away, but just getting away.
Roddy Myercheck fancies his chance as a 4-time leading goal kicker for the Magpies. He's going to kick from 55 out. This won't quite have the carry to land it right full forward and then punch through. All right, Bailey Williams for the Eagles for a rush behind. 4-4-28. The Magpies, 3 behinds the Eagles. 50 seconds gone in the first. And that is some bad news downstairs for West Coast. Shannon Hearn in a bit of strife. We'll head downstairs in a moment to a Cash Fodder.
Witherden goes on a stroll from the kick out, kicks it along the northern boundary line, but turns it over, and Quaynor with the intercept mark. Another number you spotlighted at quarter time, the clearances. West Coast dominant in that opening term, 14-4. The Pies with an early win and an early score in this quarter. Now Quaynor pumps it back inside 50 for Collingwood. Cox crushes the pack, spills down to Sheed, ushers it out to Witherden, hand pass away to Bazzo. He gives it to Hunt. And a long kick out of the defensive arc for West Coast. Up to Waterman on the wing, no mark. Falls to Jamison, rides a bump from Maynard. Ball though comes straight to Murphy for Collingwood. Hand pass away to Quaynor. There's a cross by hand to Nick Dacos, and he retreats to Moore. He's got it on the back flank. He goes all the way back to Frampton at centre-half back for the Pies.
Frampton looks the kick towards the outer wing. Ginnivan marks. And the bright sunshine plays on immediately to Myercheck. Right up against the boundary line, just forward of centre wing. Southern side of Perth Stadium. And the bright sunshine here in the west today. Lovely afternoon for football as he moves it on again. This is Johnson. Too far out to score himself. Steps back and is now probably 65, maybe 70 from goal. Gets told to move it on. He'll kick high up into the air, into the right forward pocket. Cox front position, went out after it. Little juggle, but completes the mark for the Magpies. He'll go and have a shot. 45-degree angle to the right of centre. He'll put boot to ball from about 35 out.
What a great story. Mason Cox has played his 100th game of AFL football last week, and one of the most reliable set shots in the game, which when you think about his story and where he's come from is a pretty remarkable effort.
Looking right at home with the sunglasses on in Perth, Mason Cox delivers another goal. He's got his second. The Magpies have got 5. 5-4-34. The Eagles 3 behinds. 3 minutes gone into the second term. A Cash Fodder's downstairs. Looks like bad news for the Eagles premiership captain of a few years ago.
Sure does, Clint. He's got ice on that right hamstring, and with Elijah Hewitt still downstairs, that leaves West Coast with just 2 fit players on the bench at the moment.
That's not great news, is it?
And they've already made the sub.
Yep. And it's going to be a long day for West Coast with limited rotations.
Was it the Derby early in the year when they just got decimated with injuries and didn't have anyone on the bench?
Yes, it was. In the end, they had to put, if you remember, Liam Ryan couldn't run, and they had to stand him almost
in the goal square
at full forward and just say, look, you just have to be out there.
Collingwood by 31 points, first 5 goals of the game. Start of the second term, Cameron grabs it out of the ruck, kicks to centre-half forward, and Adams, who attended the centre bounce, runs back with the flight, takes the mark. 52 metres out, he just loads up, kicks it all the way home. Make it the first 6 for Collingwood. The Pies on a business trip over to Perth, and they are giving West Coast the business to start. 4 minutes in, 6-4 to 3 behinds. 37 points, the Pies lead.
Good mark by Adams.
Yeah, good spread from the contest again, wasn't it? He's obviously got that little bit of a role where he's able to not
just get forward,
just attack and get forward of the contest, even if they haven't won possession 100%. That's just his role in that contest. So
Well, I think the most forward midfielder of any stoppage or contest can go with a licence.
it's a really... And I remember watching Geelong when they were at their absolute peak. They had so much confidence in their teammates that they had the ability to read play so well, and you're ahead of the play when you can have confidence in your teammates like that.
Cameron wins down. Sheed's able to gather it for the Eagles, though, and gets a kick away towards centre-half forward. Moore punches it in the direction of Nick Dacos, and he gets it back at centre-half back for the Magpies. Now to Maynard, bursting through. Lovely kick towards Adams, has it again, runs the centre-half forward, hands it off to Mitchell, runs inside forward 50, kicks towards goal. It's all black and white at the moment. You get the feeling an absolute thumping is on the cards here in the West. 7-4-46. They've kicked the opening 7, Collingwood. The Eagles stuck on 3 behinds. 5 gone in the second term on Grandstand AFL. Clint Wilden alongside Corbin Middlemass. Our experts, Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden.
Just getting smashed in transition off turnover. Like, it's not accountable there midfield. Like Adams again all by himself in the corridor and has all much time. They're folding back. Not attacking the ball carrier. Just time and space to go and deliver shots on goal.
West Coast really competitive in the opening term. That 4 goals to zip didn't really do it justice, but it's almost both teams' season in a nutshell, where Eagles competitive enough and then ultimately not competitive for long enough. Pies absorb what the opposition have to throw at them, and then when they get their turn to score, it comes with a rush. And the Eagles with a heap of injuries. We've seen it all to start the game as Williams down towards Kelly, kicks to centre-half forward, and Oscar Allen comes bursting through to take the mark. Where would they be without this guy in 2023? He kicks out wide and in between 2 Eagles. In the end, Clark left it for Waterman. He collected on the bounce and it was out of play.
Yeah, I'm not kicking it there. No. You've got to score. Have a crack at it. If you're not, try and find a short or get it to the top of the goal square and give your small forwards a chance to crumb.
Thrown in. Eagles looking to try and make something of this. Petruccelli, hand passed over his head. Not clear defensively, but only as far as Sheed. Hand passed on again to Clark for the Eagles. Now to Yo. He's at left half forward. Step 1, step to second. Yo arches the back. It's a hand pass back towards Witherden, kicks into the left forward pocket and spots O'Neill. 2 metres in from the boundary. He'll have a shot at goal from about 35 out.
Great play by Yo, wasn't it? Just the strength through the hips, and you know that's what we've come to see from him over when he's playing his good football. Confidence to take his opponent on and just be strong through the hips.
That's Yoey of old.
It's like watching him from 5 or 6 years ago. Snap from Xavier O'Neill around the corner. The Eagles have got there first. It comes at the 8-minute mark of the second term and ends a run of 7 unanswered goals from the Magpies. West Coast 1-3-9. As O'Neill kicks his 3rd of the season. The Magpies still well in control though. 7-4-46, 8 gone. As I said, in the second quarter on Grandstand AFL.
To say they needed that would be an understatement. Absolutely. But good finish from O'Neill, wasn't it? Really nice, composed around the corner.
Great vision by Witherden also. Yeah. Just about to find him in the pocket.
Nice settler. Get back into that rhythm that they had in that first quarter. Like you mentioned, Roy, that transition footy that Collingwood were employing there was just too strong.
So the Eagles 4 scores from 17 entries. Collingwood 11 scores from 18 entries.
It's a marked difference, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. The Eagles competitive around the ground and dominated the clearances in the opening term as Williams wins it down to Kelly. Handball to Sheed. Handball back to Williams. Locked up. 2-man tackle. Free kick for Collingwood. Mitchell and Pendlebury both had him, and the Brownlow medalist Mitchell's going to get the free kick. Another centre break to start the second term for Collingwood. Heads out wide and Josh Dacos edged out of it. Gaff takes the intercept mark. Hands it to Sheed in game 150. Kicks up to the wing. Frampton knocks it away from Allen. Inboard to Mitchell's advantage, so Collingwood get it back. Hand pass back to Frampton. Handball to Nick Dacos. Handball to Murphy, but now it's centre-half back, the Magpies. He kicks it across the back flank. Miskicked it. It'll sit for Waterman of the Eagles. Hand pass away to Clark. Gives it to Petruccelli. Tackled by Crisp. No prior. Ump says I'll have it. 47 metres out from the Eagles' goal at left half forward. A 37-point lead for the Magpies. 10 gone second term.
Ball thrown aloft. Cameron palmed it down. Kelly emerges with it. Hand pass was meant for Jamison. Bounced away. Cameron gathered again. Got it to Maynard. Kick intercepted by Sheed. Hand pass forward. Wanted O'Neill. Couldn't gather it cleanly. Moore mops it up. Nicely done. Gave it to Nick Dacos. Beautiful kick to Pendlebury, who marks just forward with the defensive point of the centre square, and his kick was smothered. Duggan got the arms out and then gathered the footy. Kicks the Eagles towards right half forward. Bounced past the presence of Allen. Maynard mops up. Allen fired up and smothers it and sees the ball ricochet over the boundary line for a throw-in. Great effort, Oscar Allen.
Two leaders of the club there doing the 1%ers, Liam Duggan and Oscar Allen. Great to see.
Two smothers, two results favourable for West Coast. Being their two most recent captains as well. Duggan and now Allen in his second game as skipper. As Cameron palmed it down, his Sheed went straight into Cameron's tackle. Ball up again. At 52 out from the Eagles attacking goal. They're heading to the city end or the right of our broadcast position in this second term. Collingwood lead 7-4-46 to 1-3-9, 10 gone in the second.
Jamison the hit out, but down to Josh Dacos of the Pies. Hand pass to Chris. Floats a kick along the boundary and too wide out on the full. Brady Hoff, one of their good users, goes short to Duggan. Still between wing and half forward for West Coast. Three troops down already today. Hearn hamstring, Hewitt a head knock, and West with a suspected knee complaint. There's a long kick inside the forward pocket. Comes down to Moore. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Gee, just stood still. He's caught. Ball comes out. Gaff snaps. Goalwood marked in the goal square. Saving mark taken by Murphy. Immediately swings play out to that southern side for Harrison. A lad on debut from South Australia. Kicks down the wing for Collingwood. Nice spoil from the Eagles from Petrocelli. Doesn't sit for them. Mitchell collects the Sharon. Sweeps a hand pass to Johnson. Good follow-up. Petrocelli locks him up. And a ball up between wing and half forward for Collingwood. Out in the sunshine on the southern side. The Pies by 37.
Cash Fodadara's downstairs. A Cash?
Yeah, confirmation Elijah Hewitt's day is done. He failed his head injury assessment. So that's 3 injuries for West Coast today.
As Corbin just told you, ranks are getting thinner for the Eagles as Jimmy got a kick away. Well done from Allen, tapped it inboard, gave it to Petrocelli, then on in turn to O'Neill, kicks inside forward 50 more. Read it better than Waterman, takes the defensive mark for the Magpies, gave it to Murphy by hand and back to Nick Dacos from the left back pocket. This kick might be turned over. In fact, it's going to be a free kick going the Magpies' way with Dacos upended after he got the kick away. So where the ball landed, it'll be McCreery to take the free kick for the Magpies. He'll move it short to the goey. There'll be boos every time he goes near the ground for the shoulder into the head of Hewitt. Looks to go up the middle of the ground towards Cameron. Stretches, got first touch, and then drags in the mark. 60 from goal. Hands it off. Here's the goey again. Kicks inside forward 50, and here's the debutant, Harvey Harrison. As Corbin said, behind with his first kick.
A poster.
An absolute poster.
Just on a Cash's news too, so that it was already bad for Jordan De Goey. He's going to miss weeks. The bye will be part of that as well. But the fact that young Hewitt's failed his HIA,
yep, absolutely,
that's on the severe end. He's going to miss a lot of footy, Jordan De Goey.
And as he should, electing to bump and leaving the ground. So the 19-year-old Harvey Harrison, looking for his first goal in league footy. Looked great off the boot. Oh, he's celebrating before it passes between the big sticks. Raises the right arm in joy. And every Collingwood player on the ground goes to celebrate with him, as they should. What a way to mark your debut. Taking it pick 52 in the 21 draft. The 19-year-old has a goal in the big league. The Magpies have got their 8th, 8-4-52 to the Eagles, 1-3-9, 14 gone in the second on Grandstand AFL.
He started well. He's been an outlet out of back half on a couple of occasions and had a couple of shots on goal. See with the family with his jumper presentation today.
Great occasion, the first game, and to be able to contribute, kick a goal, great feeling.
Away trip to Perth.
You know, you were saying he's a double H. If he can take a big mark, he could be the Triple H, the Harvey Harrison hanger.
Yes.
Triple H.
It'll be the game.
Wrestler.
And I'm looking around at some wrestling fans in the box.
Back to 43 points a game high. Collingwood's way, 8 goals to 1. Well, fresh air shot in the middle. Is it going to be called kicking in danger? It is, as Adams went to hack it off the deck. So Jamison will get the free for the Eagles. Hand pass away to Hunt. Rapid round the back. Kicks out wide. Quaynor arriving late. Knocks it away from Gaff. Loose footy on the wing. Witherden first one there for West Coast. Sweeping Polyfarmer hand pass all the way back to Bazzo. Handball to Jindy on the wing. Hand pass inboard to Hunt. He's under the pump immediately. Hill locks him up. And we'll have a stoppage on the wing.
Well, I see Ruben Jimmy take that ball in the hands rather than catch it in his chest. Just limited time then to be able to use it by hands.
43 points Collingwood's lead. Cox wins it down. Yo through the stoppage. Wins it for West Coast. Hand pass to Duggan. Got his hands free in the tackle. Handball to Jamison. Links up with Witherden. Kicks down in front of the benches. And Gaff off balance, falling to the boundary line marks in front of the interchange gates. Collingwood by 43 halfway through the second.
Gaff short to Foley, who marks. Much same spot in the ground as he trots back and now goes on a short run to put it into the right forward pocket. Front position was Moore, gets a free kick. Eagles infringing the arm over the shoulder. Moore will have it in the left back pocket.
Moore honestly looks like he's reading the ball as the forward. He's reading it off the boot that well.
Kick was into the middle of the ground. Adams couldn't mark. Thought he was infringed by Jinby. Picking it up with it and for the Eagles. Moves it on to Long. Hand pass was behind O'Neill. Did well to gather. Moved it to Clark. Got tackled immediately by Murphy. It jarred out to Jinby. Under real pressure. Pendlebury gets him. Umpire lurks. Mitchell goes in to lend support to Pendlebury. It'll be a ball up at centre half forward for West Coast, who still trail 8-4, 52 to 139. 16 gone in the second.
Up it goes. Cox wins it down. Yo moves his way through, shakes a tackle, grabs the footy, kicks to the top of the goal square. Waterman a con bounce, hands it to Allen and pops it through. At last, a bit of luck for the Eagles as the ball bounces their way, and Oscar Allen adds to his goal-kicking tally. He's up to 30 for the season. Collingwood by 37 points, 8-4 to 2-3, 17 gone, second term.
He put that goal down to Elliot Yeo again through stoppage. Just started to get on the move, tested the tackle, gets it forward, got a lucky bounce, yes, but just great relationship there with Oscar Allen to just pop the handball over the top, but well done, Elliot Yeo.
There's been a couple, hasn't there, where he's just had that dynamic movement through the stoppage, and he's so hard to stop when he's on the move, breaking tackles. It's just, you can't take him down.
No, he's a big boy.
A restart. One down there by Conks, but it came to Jamison for the Eagles. Got it onto Jinby. Thumping kick inside forward 50. Allen's surely been infringed by Frampton. Umpires eventually played the free kick. For a while, Frampton had his arm over his shoulder and then a grab of the jumper too. Allen will be putting boots of ball from 50 out. It's slightly better than a 45-degree angle to the left.
Then great work from stoppage with West Coast from centre bounce. Doing really well in that area. They're plus 13 at stoppage at the moment, so they've got 2 ruckmen in today.
Corbin said before he's been one of the few bright spots in an otherwise dismal season for West Coast. Oscar Allen looking for his second from 51 metres out. Kick looks perfect. Crowd reaction will tell you the story. He's got 2. The Eagles have got 3. And the West Coast able to kick back-to-back goals. That's been a rarity this season as well. Collingwood's lead trimmed to 31 points. The Magpies are 8-4, 52 to the Eagles 3-3, 21. 19 gone in the second on Grandstand AFL.
Just didn't give up, did he, Sherry? Worked his way to the front.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about the way Oscar Allen attacks the footy. He just watches the ball and attacks it. Really good at picking the drop of the ball as well if it's coming in high, but his greatest attribute is you put it out in front of him and he will attack it at 100 miles an hour, won't he?
Absolutely. Amazing, up to 31 for the season, so 4th on the Coleman medal list. The Eagles' leading goal kicker last year was Josh Kennedy with 37, so he's still got 11 games to go, Oscar Allen. And the team that's going to be down the bottom, you can hear from the jeers. DeGoey gets the centre break, kicks it out wide, unkind bounce from McCreary. It'll sit for Foley's hand pass missed Witherden and ends up out of play. Boundary throw in, high half forward for the Pies. It'll be a tough gig as well. It's a young man sort of leading a forward line and then also asked to captain. And he kicks 31 goals in 12 games.
And he seems to be relishing it, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Boundary throw in. Cameron wins the hit out down to Sheed. And he's 150th. Handball back inboard. Witherden clever. Just knocks it on in front of O'Neill. Can't collect. Bobbles away towards Williams. He's eventually got it for the Eagles. Hand pass to Jamison. Clever kick. Out wide to Yo. Takes the mark. Short kick down to Noah Long. The teenager's got it. Wanted the handball inside. Decides to kick himself and turns it over. And Frampton at centre-half back has it for Collingwood.
He turns it over as well. Going up Duggan. He's been paid the mark despite the presence of Mitchell. He's got it just forward of the logo. With the left, he'll put it back towards full forward. Not a great kick.
Terrible kick.
Cameron, uncontested, takes a defensive mark inside his defensive 50. Moves it out to Murphy. Sweeps the hand pass onto Moore. Will take a bounce. Runs towards right half back and then kicks towards Ginnivan, marking on centre wing. Magpies are going to play a free, but they've kicked into the man on the mark and Rotham's able to knock it away. All on his own was Hill at right half forward. All he had to do was to get it to him. Fortunately for West Coast, they were able to stop that little foray forward. There's a throw in between centre wing and right half forward.
Good coverage by Tim Kelly. Press forward. Rotham then left his man. Support from his midfield.
Spun in again. Williams with the more telling tap, but it was down to Pendlebury. Sends the Magpies into the right forward pocket. McCreary met it. Tackled. It's been locked in there. Umpire will say, holding the ball. Luke Foley got him. He's rewarded with the free kick for a terrific tackle. Deep in the left back pocket for West Coast, who still trail by 31 points. 21 gone in the second.
They've had 12 more clearances, though, in the game, and they've had 6 more inside 50s. A long kick to the pack, and standing in front of it was Williams. Takes the mark, but a free kick. Over the shoulder in the marking contest. It's going the Pies' way, and Darcy Cameron will get it. So despite Collingwood kicking 8 of the first 9 goals, the Eagles with only 2 fit men on the bench. They lost Barris before the bounce. It's certainly not the worst we've seen the Eagles this year, not by a long stretch.
There's been a turnover here as well.
Yeah.
Ginnivan, I think.
So free kick against the Pies after they had the footy, and so Long's going to get it, and all of a sudden they turn defence into attack pretty quickly. Waterman, hand pass to Kelly, handball out wide, Dom Sheed against the Pies. You know how that ends. Through it goes for a major. And the man responsible for the greatest moment in West Coast history has a goal in his 150th. Dom Sheed makes it 3 on the trot for the Eagles. 4-3-27. Collingwood 8-4-52. And the Pies, after leading by 43 points on 2 separate occasions earlier in the quarter, lead it by just 25. Time on second turn.
What a finish from Dommy Sheed. He plays the humble kid from Cal, but as you can see from his amazing celebration, he had a true appreciation of the difficulty of that kick. It was pinched up right in the corner there, in the pocket there, wasn't he? And it was a beautiful finish.
Great finish.
And then just the salute to the pocket as well. He absolutely enjoyed this. Arms spread, Jordan-esque.
I've seen him kick better goals against the Pies.
From the bounce, Cameron palmed it down. Awkward bounce for the Magpies. Kelly was able to almost get it away. Adams looks to soccer it forward. He's Sheed again getting in the way to Witherden across half back. Hand pass for Ginby, had to wait. He was tackled. Hill got him. It'll be holding the ball. Bobby Hill wins the free kick for the Magpies. Has it just forward of the logo, southern wing. He'll walk back to stand on the outer edge of the centre square and pop it short to Pendlebury on his own in the middle of the ground. Looking to control the football now. He'll step back to stand in front of the centre circles. Goes short to Adams, who marks. Jested forward 50. Adams goes back a long way. He's going to send it to the teeth of goal. Gives it a fair bit. Cox is out on the lead. Might have been held. Umpire says play on. No, umpire does say he was being held.
No, I think it's a mark.
Oh, it's gone over the top and behind them. That's quite remarkable. Cameron's taken the mark.
It's managed to get all the way over the top of Cox and land in the lap of Cameron.
He was sixth back in a line of about 7, Darcy Cameron. I was watching Cox go to ground. I felt sure he was infringed. Somehow the ball's gone over the back of them and Darcy Cameron's in the right spot. Goodness me.
Didn't think we'd be saying it, but against the...
So here is Cameron, a little hop, skip and a jump. He settles into his run up and then he misses to the right-hand side. Minor score, 8-5-53 to the Eagles, 4-3-27. 24 and a bit gone in the second term on Grandstand AFL.
But the ruckman certainly not meant to take chest marks in the forward 50 that deep in a pack. As Witherden from the kick out goes wide out to the southern boundary line, and Oscar Allen, contested grab against Quaynor, comes up with it at half back. He's kicked 2 in the quarter. As you said, Shaz, momentum really with West Coast here. They've kicked 4 of the last 5 in the game. Having a little purple patch, having conceded 8 of the first 9. The switch is on. Back to Witherden, to Duggan. Then a short kick to Foley off the back flank. Long in front of the benches, and he takes the mark. Noah Long, one of 4 teens in the team today for the Eagles, goes short to O'Neill. Pies with some numbers back inside the Eagles forward 50. The shadows at the city. Andy pokes it in front of Jamison, knocked away by Maynard. There's a free kick behind all of that. And Pendlebury was bowled over in the contest. In fact, it's going to be Maynard's free. Regardless, the Pies will get it left back pocket. Collingwood by 26 points, 8-5 to 4-3, but the Eagles, with all the momentum late in the quarter, they've kicked the last 3 of the match.
Kick comes out towards Cameron, and he marks right up against the boundary line. Left half back for Collingwood. As Corbin said before, led by 43 points twice, the last at the 14-minute mark of this term. Collingwood, 26 minutes gone in the second, 8-5 plays 4-3. Cameron kicks towards left half forward, and Cox has been held this time. Looks to play on quickly. Thumps it inside, attacking 50. Going up, Hunt got a fingertip to it. It's spilled down to Bazzo to get it away. Quick hand pass to Hoff, then to Williams, to Bazzo again. Now to Hoff once more. Hand pass to Rotham. They've worked at the right half back. This is well done. The Eagles through Hunt, bursts away, gets past Cox, just stays in, gives it to Witherden. It's gone back. Running too far. Against Hunt.
Where's the theatre, Umpy?
It was probably there, but it was spectacular.
Reynard running twice as far in the first.
It was a long run to get around Cox. Yeah, all things considered, it was right, but it was exciting. Noble will get the free kick on centre wing, commentary side.
Game 71 consecutively as he goes down to half forward. No mark from Cameron. Spills to Mitchell. Tumbles a kick in front of Harrison. Took a U-turn and bounced away from him. Gaff links up with Duggan. Short kick out to half back, and there's Clark, the sub, who takes the mark. Short kick to Kelly. That's in front on contact. And he's going to be paid the free at half back against Adams. Tim Kelly. Dangerous kick back inboard. Broken up by Mitchell as he spoils it away, but into the path of Foley of the Eagles. Hand pass back to Rotham. Kicks out wide, southern boundary line, and Duggan takes the mark. Looks inboard for Sheed, having kicked the last of the game. Just 4 premiership players in from 2018 today for the Eagles. 8 from that grand final team for Collingwood. In the middle of the ground to Petruccelli. He continues the shift out to the broadcast side for Jaden Hunt.
It looks like he's got a problem well off the ball. He's with the trainers for a moment, hands on his head. Problem perhaps with his knee as the Eagles have it towards right half forward. Jamison marks. He'll put it towards the teeth of goal. Williams flies, got hands to it, spills down. Maynard couldn't gather, tries to effect a tackle, looking to lock the ball in. Moore's lurking as well. Umpire says we'll ball it up.
Could have used Tim Kelly there, top of the 50, Jamison. They fill the leading lanes really well, the Pies in their back half.
Hill says he's okay. The trainer's gone away. Williams tapped it back into the corridor. Here is Kelly. Couldn't get really any purchase on the kick. Noble intercepted. Gave it out towards Nick Dacos. Clearing kick towards left half back. Ginnivan couldn't mark under pressure from Jamison. Hand pass across half back to Mitchell. Bounces a kick in the direction of Basso. Goes on a run and then kicks back towards full forward. Allen up against Moore. Off his hands. Murphy with the clearing kick towards right half back.
It'll favour Rotham for the Eagles. He has a fumble. Harrison's on him. Harrison lays the tackle. Says I'll have it. Ball up. Half forward for the Eagles. Crowd involved. Huge mismatch in the context of the season, and the Eagles playing the role of the plucky underdog at the moment, having kicked the last 3 goals. Have been competitive around the ground despite trailing for most of the afternoon. Up it goes. Pendlebury trying to grab the footy. Tackled immediately by Jinby. Seen him do a heap of that already this year. 5th in the competition in tackles, Ruben Jinby. The Pies led by 43 earlier in the quarter. It's Collingwood by just 26 now, closing in on half-time. Another forward 50 stoppage for the Eagles. Collingwood win it though through Mitchell. Hand pass to Quaynor. Clever tap. Down to Crest. Hand pass and turnover to Duggan. Adams tackles into ground and the ump says, I'll have it. Front edge of the centre square. Still front half for West Coast. Collingwood by 26.
Thrown aloft. Jamison won it down. Straight to Josh Dacos. Threw it on the boot. Gets a kick towards the southern wing. Hunt's able to get it. Hand passed away from Harrison, but he stepped over the line before he did that. Boundary throw-in.
Got a shout-out for you, Clint. Dan Cherney, one of the fine sports writers based in Melbourne.
Loves the Simpsons quote, the big fella.
Loving it as always. Listening to the call from mid-air en route to the UK.
Oh, nice.
Off to the Ashes, of
Watch
course.
some cricket.
Yes.
Good fella, Dan. Throwing back in. Comes again here. Oh, lovely kick. Inside forward 50 from Kelly, and that's a great mark to Waterman. He's got it 50 from goal. If he can go back and kick truly, the Eagles will win just their second term of the season. They're equal worst in quarters 1. They've claimed just 1.
Can't go off the line either.
He can't. They trailed by 24 points at quarter time. They currently trail by 26. Can he kick truly, Jake Waterman? Wipes the footy on the jump up. Wipes the hands on the side of the shorts. Brushes a bit of sweat away from the brow and then stares at the big sticks at the city end of the ground.
Long run.
Huge run up. He'll be kicking from about 52 out. 45-degree angle to the left. It's horrific.
Has it touched off the boot?
I reckon he's kicked into the man on the mark.
Yep.
So, close but not quite for the Eagles in winning a second term, but it has been a good fight back from them, trailing by 43 points at both the 6 and the 14-minute mark of the second term. They're able to fight back and trail by just 26 at the half. It is the ladder leaders versus rock bottom on Grandstand AFL, and to make matters worse for the Eagles, Hearn and Hewitt both out for the rest of the game, and West has already been subbed. It's been an injury list like a MASH unit, if you remember the old television show from the 1970s, and of course what happened in the days of North Korea, or the Korean War. Collingwood lead 8-5-53. It's a 4-3-27. The goal kickers for the Magpies, Mason Cox has got a couple. Harrison on debut. Dacos of the Nick variety, Crisp, Hill and Adams, while for the West Coast Eagles, Oscar Allen's got 2, O'Neill with 1 and Sheed with 1. And to give you some sort of indication about how West Coast have been travelling of late, they trail by 26 and they're almost getting a standing ovation as they make their way off the ground. A sizable chunk of the crowd showing their appreciations for their efforts this afternoon. Corbin?
Just on the injuries, again, in keeping with their season, so all different kind of injuries today. So you've got a guy trying to lay a tackle involved in a collision, hurts his knee in Connor West. Shannon Hearn's an old guy, does a soft tissue injury. Obviously, you'd expect that at 35 years of age. Elijah Hewitt, through no fault of his own, is a teenager who gets ironed out by an opposition player, gets a head knock, so he's out of the game. And they lost Barris before the bounce with a quad injury. So already 13 on the injury list. You add 4 to that today, 17 guys unavailable. It's not as if it's a whole sequence of the same kind of injury.
No.
The same thing's happened again for the Eagles today in play.
Yeah, makes it hard, doesn't it? Just about to grind this game out.
Hearn's another one that's probably a month, 5 weeks. At least Hewitt, possibly just the one game.
Yeah, 12 days. If no symptoms.
West, that could be one that might be 1 or 2 weeks if it's like that hyperextension. Hopefully it's not like a PCL where it's really knocked and done some damage to the back of the knee. It
feels like
good.
PCLs can be anything from 1 to 2 to
months.
11. 6. Yeah. Sort of, and what I think side bottoms obviously. Yeah, he's rarely missed footy coming off one of those, and I think they are estimating he'll be out for a couple of months.
Yeah. It's some of the best footy I've seen West Coast play all year.
Yeah.
You know? The scoreboard doesn't reflect it with 4 goals down, but that was a great fight back.
That was a 10-minute win. It was a window where Pies just went bang, bang, bang.
It could have been 100 very quickly.
And I think that shows a lot of resilience from West Coast to be able to put the brakes on Pies, momentum, and then wrestle it back. They, like we said during the call, then we almost felt like West Coast had momentum. They definitely did for the back end of that half. It was good showing, and we're rocking up to the game thinking we're going to see the best team in the competition in the Pies. What are we going to see? What's the standard that West Coast need to get to? And I feel like West Coast have done a really good showing in rising to the level, almost the opposite of what we saw last night.
+9 in clearance, +9 in ground balls, inside 50s +9, contested footy +8, uncontested +21, disposal +30. There's some good signs for West Coast right now. It's just that last kick going inside 50.
Yeah.
I reckon they're kicking from 70, 80, and they're just kicking long to an out number. They've just got to somehow find a short, lower the eyes, even on those slow plays, and take a real, pull the trigger and try and find something inside there rather than just kicking it long all the time. They're just not scoring.
Yeah, and like you said, Pies are doing a wonderful job of blocking up all of that space. They don't leave anywhere for a little channel to open up, and that's those laneways are all Oscar Allen would need, or Jakey Waterman. That's all they need, but there's no space. So they are kind of resigned to having to kick it in, but they're both really reliable kicks. I'd prefer to put the ball 20 metres out over near the pocket. If they take a mark, it's a bonus. Yeah. But at least they're going to get a forward 50 stoppage. At the moment, they're just allowing the Pies defenders to read it,
and
contest, and it goes out the other way.
Yeah. So, there's some good signs there, and led well by their leaders. Like Dominichini's 150 has been terrific today, and he hasn't been one where he's just jumped on the boot and hacked it forward today. I think he's been shaping the ball better, been a bit more crafty, a lot on the eyes, trying to find it. Kelly's been good again. I think he's starting to find some really good form. Some lesser lights as well, but I think their leaders have been really strong around the midfield. Yowie again, although the possession rate is not high, but done some really impact. Yeah, done the Yowies of old that we've seen with ball in hand.
Who's stood out for Collingwood for what we've seen so far today? The touch of class is obvious. The difference between
the thing, isn't it?
The ability to make the right decision and make it quickly and then execute it is what. And West Coast have been caught on a couple of occasions taking too long to decide what they're going to do with it, and then not being able to execute it when it's come forward. But of Collingwood, who's really leapt out for you today?
I thought Josh Dacos started well. Mitchell's grinding it into the game. They're not real standouts. I reckon that's where the good thing about Collingwood is a real team performance across the board. But for me, Mitchell, their ruck started to get a bit of it around the ground. Cameron and Cox, when they start getting the ball, I'm trying to find Williams and where he's at defensively. So he's probably holding corridor or getting behind the ball.
Taylor Adams in that little stretch when they had the momentum was pretty influential during that little stretch. And like what we just said, I think that's what's so good about Collingwood is their evenness of contribution and their willingness to just play their role. Every decision that they make is based on what's the best outcome for the team. What can we do to put ourselves in a better position? It's a really selfless brand of football that I think they're playing, and it's super impressive.
I think Murphy's been great behind the ball too, just assisting Darcy Moore early too to be able to win. He's had 8 marks, so they do hold up well inside their back half.
I love your comments on West Coast and the fact that you said this is as good as you've seen them throughout the year. And I mean, I've obviously mainly watched them from afar. I think I've done one West Coast game in person this year. But even the numbers you study reading in, the most concerning part for a team in this position are things like 17th for pressure, 18th for contested possession. You mentioned the ground ball numbers haven't been good historically. They've only had more disposals in 3 games, and yet they've won the tackle count only twice. So it's those kind of things where you think that's all effort-based. Sort of why aren't those numbers better? But all your analysis there about the lack of polish and everything else, that's what you should be saying about a team in this position. But the other stuff should be a given.
Yep.
And it hasn't always been throughout 2023. And yet against the best team, they've been quite admirable today in their effort and the way that they've gone about it.
And Simo said that all year, hasn't he, in his press conferences, post-game, what it may be. Disappointing here. Small wins in quarters, but effort, terrible. Yep. The Hawthorn one, just unacceptable, not tolerating that. That's good, and we want to hear that. And if the scoreboard reflects otherwise, well, you're going to cop that. Yep. But those givens every week have got to be maintained.
And no one in the wider community that follows football wants to see a team get demolished week in, week out, because it's just not good. It's not enjoyable to watch. There's no benefit of it. You want to see even a team that we know is struggling as much as West Coast, if they're trying their guts out, you come away from a game and you go, beautiful, at least they tried. If they miss shots, if they do, like you said, that polish isn't there, you'll take that. That's a problem. Like I said, that's a later problem. Now you just want to see the effort. And when these guys got drafted for a reason, they're obviously good players, and they can just hopefully get up to the level that is required.
It's been easily the most impressive performance that we've seen from West Coast so far this year, if you're not to count a very, very different-looking team that ran out against GWS and for the first quarter against Fremantle.
Do you think Fly's in there giving you a little bit of a touch-up? I know it's not in his coaching, probably, mantra, but do you think he's going, boys, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, pull your head.
I don't know. I still think that it's not that Collingwood have actually been bad
at all.
That's why I wanted to make sure we touched on what they'd done. It's more of, I guess, the narrative of the storyline going in would be how much buy for Collingwood.
Yep.
And I still think it will end up being a how much buy, but all you can ask for this West Coast group with the injuries they've had is those out there have a crack, and that's what they've been doing today.
And I went and watched Pies North last week, and it was the same thing. Like the Pies just managed to play their role. They obviously moved the ball really well, and when they transitioned the whole way, you're like, wow, that was spectacular. But it's not like they go like time after time and time after again. It's just like a constant grind for them. It's impressive when they do it well, but it's not like they're doing it every play of the game.
Here's a little stat for you. Combined losses to injury today for West Coast, 485 games just today. Barras 128, Hearn 327, West 27 and Hewitt 3. So that's even losing, as you mentioned before, going into the side, and it's fascinating the player who came in for Tommy Barras is one of the players who's been injured. But you lose a premiership and a best and fairest player and be replacing by someone in their fourth game. It's always going to be a challenge for a side if that's what you have to do. But anyway, plenty more to come here. Just repeating the earlier game, Port by 55 against Hawthorn. Here at half-time at Perth Stadium, it's the Magpies 8-5-53 to the Eagles 4-3-27. Let's pause. If you'd like to, by the way, send us a text, ask a question, 0437 774 774. If you're an Eagles fan, is this the best you've seen your side play or heard your side play? If you're just listening about the place, we'd like to get your thoughts on that. If you're a Magpie supporter, what have you made of it all? 0437 774 774. Right now, let's pause and take the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The death toll from the massive rail crash in India is now approaching 300. Larry Buttrose has the latest.
Officials say more than 280 people are now known to have died in the high-speed crash in Odisha state in northeastern India. Nearly 1,000 are so far known to be injured, and rescuers are still trying to free hundreds more people trapped in the wreckage. It's the worst crash on India's massive rail network this century. It's believed to have occurred when a passenger train derailed and its carriages ended up on another track and were hit by an express train bound for the megacity of Kolkata to the north. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is to visit the crash scene.
Ukraine's president says the country's military is now ready to launch its long-awaited counteroffensive to recapture Russian-occupied territory. President Volodymyr Zelensky has told the Wall Street Journal he does not know how long the counteroffensive will last. He also says it can go a variety of ways, but Ukraine is now ready and will launch it. Kyiv hopes reclaiming territory will change the dynamics of the war that's raged since Russia began its invasion of its smaller neighbour 15 months ago. Victoria Police have recommenced an investigation into the school allegedly involved in former principal and accused abuser Malka Leifer fleeing Australia in 2008. Beth Gibson reports.
Victoria Police have confirmed there's an ongoing investigation into offences linked to the Adas Israel School in Melbourne's southeast. In a letter from the Office of Victoria Police Chief Commissioner Shane Patton to former state politicians Ted Ballew and Philip Dalidakis, the Commissioner said the investigation was suspended during recent criminal proceedings against Leifer, but has now been reopened. In April, Leifer was found guilty of 18 sexual abuse offences against 2 former students between 2003 and 2007.
The ALP has selected a candidate to stand in next month's federal by-election in the Gold Coast seat of Fadden. Peter Quattrochelli reports.
Griffith University nursing lecturer Letitia Del Fabro will once again contest the seat after running for election last year. She garnered around 22% of the primary vote, which was half that received by retiring MP Stuart Robert in the safe LNP seat. ALP State Secretary Kate Flanders says the decision to endorse the Gold Coast local was made last night. Later today, the LNP will meet to choose its candidate with 5 members vying for pre-selection. Local LNP delegates will meet from 2 o'clock with a decision expected later this afternoon. Voters will head to the poll on July 15.
A serious multi-car crash has closed a major road on Sydney's North Shore. A large emergency services contingent is responding to the accident on Epping Road. Diversions are in place, but traffic is heavy and motorists are asked to avoid the area. A woman has died after a head-on crash at Boya in Tasmania's north this morning. A woman in her 20s died and a man in his 20s was taken to the Royal Hobart Hospital in a serious condition. They were believed to be the only occupants of the vehicles. A US astronomer has found hundreds of mysterious cosmic threads pointing towards the centre of the Milky Way. The BBC's Palop Ghosh has the story.
Dr. Farhad Yousefzadeh said he was stunned to discover the giant cosmic threads that seem to emanate from the centre of the galaxy. They're made of dust and gas, but it's unclear how they were created. The most obvious explanation is that they were formed by the black hole at the centre of our galaxy. If the one at the galactic centre exerts an influence on the newly discovered cosmic threads, then studying them will give scientists insights into the supermassive black hole at the heart of the Milky Way and the role it played in the formation of our galaxy.
At least one person has been killed in heavy rainfall and flooding in Japan. Authorities have issued warnings about torrential falls across a wide area of the country, triggered by a tropical storm. People are being told to be careful about rising waters and landslides in Japan's east. Parents in the US city of Los Angeles have clashed over a primary school hosting a Pride Month event. More than 100 protesters and counter-protesters took up positions on opposite sides of a normally quiet suburban street. One group had launched a boycott of the school, labelling the Pride event indoctrination and inappropriate for children. However, counter-protesters argued that children have the right to learn about different types of families. Police say one person suffered minor injuries after a fight broke out. And just recapping our top story, that the death toll from the massive rail crash in India is now approaching 300. ABC News.
The brilliant minds from the Nation Building Authority are back.
I have complete faith in the NBA.
It's got to be something that's shovel-ready.
And there's a lot to unpack.
What?
What does that even mean? What does anything mean?
With Rob Sitch, Kitty Flanagan, Celia Paquola and the whole office.
It's a smart idea. It's not a bad idea.
That could be illegal.
All new shovel-ready Utopia.
There you go.
Premieres 8 p.m. Wednesday, June 7 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Cameron grabs it out of the ruck, kicks to centre half forward, and Adams, who attended the centre bounce, runs back with the flight, takes the mark. 52 metres out, he just loads up, kicks it all the way home.
Lovely kick towards Adams, has it again, runs the centre half forward, hands it off to Mitchell, runs inside forward 50, kicks towards goal. It's all black and white at the moment. Cash Fodadara's downstairs. Cash?
Yeah, confirmation Elijah Hewitt's day is done. He failed his head injury assessment, so that's 3 injuries for West Coast today.
Hands it off. Here's to Goey again. Kicks inside forward 50, and here's the debutant, Harvey Harrison. Looking for his first goal in league footy. Looked great off the boot. Oh, he's celebrating before it passes between the big sticks. Raises the right arm in joy. And every Collingwood player on the ground goes to celebrate with him.
Up it goes. Cox wins it down. Yo moves his way through, shakes a tackle, grabs the footy, kicks to the top of the goal square. Waterman a kind bounce, hands it to Allen and pops it through. At last, a bit of luck for the Eagles. So free kick against the Pies after they had the footy, and so Long's going to get it, and all of a sudden they turn defence into attack pretty quickly. Waterman, hand pass to Kelly, handball out wide, Dom Sheed against the Pies. You know how that ends.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
There's one game of rugby league underway as we speak. Gold Coast Titans up against South Sydney. The Titans, 26 minutes into the game, lead 18 points to 10. The game completed. The Warriors by 22 over the Dolphins, 30 points to 8. The Warriors beating the Dolphins. Repeating earlier today, into Port by 55 over Hawthorn. Port Adelaide, 9 straight wins now. It's a club record for them. Teams heading to their respective positions here at Perth Stadium. Second half about to get underway. Corbin Middlemass has got all the numbers in front of him. Corbs.
The interesting ones on the team front. So the Eagles have actually had 31 more disposals. The tackle count is Collingwood plus 12. Probably in keeping with the fact the other teams had more of the ball. If you look at the inside 50s, West Coast plus 10. They also lead ground balls plus 10, and they lead the clearances plus 9. So a really solid showing from the Eagles. Sheeds had 20 in game 150. Kelly's had 19, 14 for Witherden, 12 for Duggan and Jamison. And for Collingwood, Tom Mitchell's had 17, 14 for Nick Dacos, 13 for brother Josh.
Big question mark out of this game so far will be, what will Jordan De Goey comp from the MRO for his bump that left Hewitt out of the game? It was high, he left the ground, he elected to bump. It's going to be one of the key talking points for our listeners who certainly are Collingwood supporters. As this second half is underway, the bounce to begin is an absolute shocker. I'm sure when Corbin takes over, I'll throw it up nicely for you, Corbs.
Up it goes. Williams leaps over the top for West Coast, wins the hit out, but down to the ageless Pendlebury, who takes it out of the middle, kicks to centre half forward, Cox the target, an arm chopped, and it's against the Eagles and against Foley.
They're undersized back there. And Foley on Cox.
So giving away about a foot.
He's already kicked 2 today, Mason.
I don't know if there was much of an arm chop there. It was...
Can't reach it.
Yeah.
Mini tunnel, potentially.
He's got 10 goals for the season, all of them from set shots. He's on the set shot again here. Just crosses the 50-metre arc. He's dropped punt, sailing goalward, hits the post. Inside of the right-hand goal post on the way through. First score of the second half, 60 seconds old. Collingwood by 27.
Liam Duggan, the kicking duties, goes on a little trundle towards left full back, kicks me on defensive 50. Here's Cox again. Front position, drags in the mark.
Just hit Foley, he's all by himself there. Duggan.
Cox puts it back into the right forward pocket. Going up, Bazzo should probably taken the mark. Instead it spills away from him and over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Maybe looked like he was anticipating a little bit of contact, and when it didn't come, it kind of shocks you, doesn't it?
Yeah. Shot of Shannon Hearn on the big screen. He's got the tracksuit on. He's out of the game with a hamstring injury. Throwing in again. Clever tap. Beautifully done from Cameron down to go. He snapped around the body. Johnson was trying to slap it back in towards the goal square. Didn't get the bounce he wanted, and Bazzo's happy to track it towards the boundary line. It'll go across at left full forward for a throw-in. Clever tap from Cameron. Normally you'd be backing De Goey to be able to snap that and kick a goal. Not this occasion though. Collingwood heading to the city end of Perth Stadium to the right of our broadcast position as Williams gets away from Cameron this time, got hands to it. Myercheck and Sheed chase it towards the boundary line. Mitchell got a hand pass away. Only as far as Petruccelli. Kelly's hand pass knocked down by Pendlebury. Decision being held here. It's Yo held without the football, and he'll get the free kick for the Eagles in the right back pocket.
One of their 4 premiership players in today, Elliot Yo. Out of the defensive 50. Kicks long to a contest out on that southern wing. Cameron competes, no mark. Falls down to ground level. Williams grabs it. The Pies swarm to him. Ball comes out as Mitchell hands it to Josh Dacos. Squeeze a kick inside 50. Unkind bounce for Myercheck to go. He keeps on moving. Collects clean. Hand pass away towards Adams. He gives it to Josh Dacos. Shoots goalward. It's across the face. In the end, he misses the whole set, and Witherden keeps it alive. Marking next to the behind post. He goes short to Duggan, and Duggan will hand it back to Witherden. Now he's in the opposite pocket, kicking out to half-back.
Oh, dangerous kick. Chopped off. Maynard marks left half forward. Pops it inside forward. 50. Finds Myercheck. Marking for Collingwood. 45 out from goal. It's right up against the boundary.
Bit sore, McCreary coming off again. Yeah, not a great kick by Witherden. Another turnover for him.
He's had a few moments he'd rather forget today, Witherden.
Just fell off his kick a little bit.
Here's Myercheck, right up against the boundary from 48 metres out. He's missing left. Missing narrow, minus score. 8-7-55 the Pies. 4-3-27 the Eagles. 4 gone in the third.
Duggan short on the kick out to Witherden. Sweeping hand pass back to the lefty, and he chips short to Gaff. Another one who marks it left half back. 3 left footers in their team today. And Gaff's going to go long to a contest on the wing. Williams leaps up, can't complete the mark, spills down to Sheed. He's bowled over. The 2 Pies scrap with each other on the deck. Eventually spits out from Mitchell, but straight to Roth and burrows back into traffic, holding the ball. Took on the tackler.
Took on 3, I reckon.
And the ump said, you can't be doing that. Free kick for Collingwood, and Tom Mitchell's going to get it. And the Pies keep it in their front half, so winning some territory battle here early in the third term. 5 minutes old. Collingwood by 28. Mitchell to the hot spot. Cox flew early. Gee, big leap from Duggan over the back. No mark. Comes out to Witherden. Hand pass to Clark. Handball to Jamison. Back to Witherden in the goal square.
Gives it out to Gaff. Gaff has to measure his kick precise to Sheed. Mark still in defensive 50. Not a great kick beyond defensive 50. Has it been kept in play by Long? It hasn't. He was right there. No chance of marking it. Raced towards the boundary. Couldn't get there in time. I think there's going to be a change downstairs. Akash Fodadar's got the details for us.
Yeah, Oleg Markov is about to be subbed into the game. As well, we mentioned McCreary came off limping, and he'd actually spent a fair bit of time with the doctors before half-time having a lower leg issue looked at. So I believe it's Markov in for McCreary.
Yo for the Eagles. Had it left half back, hit high up into the air towards the logo. And Long was being infringed, being held without the football, nowhere near it, in fact, as Noble gave away the free kick, gave it to Duggan, kicks to Kelly, marking it left half forward. Needed to go short. Was on then if he wanted to, and then he drops the football. Had time to regather. It works out okay. Leading up Allen. He takes the mark.
It was really good composure from Kelly then, because the decision that he was going to kick to got kind of taken away. So although he dropped the ball, it was a conscious decision instead of blazing away. And then, like we mentioned at half-time, that leading lane was perfect for Allen, just leading straight through the corridor, and a beautiful kick from Tim Kelly.
Waterman leads out into the left forward pocket. That's ignored by Oscar Allen, as it should be. He can kick the distance. He's looking for 3. Starting line with the left hand behind post. Kicks from bang on 50. It is a magnificent strike of the football. Oscar Allen has 3 goals. The roar is enormous around Perth Stadium. He's developing into some sort of player after missing all of last year with a foot injury. And he's wearing the captain's armband, metaphorically, with aplomb. 8-7-55 Collingwood, 5-3-33 the Eagles, 7 gone in the third term on Grandstand AFL. West Coast get the first goal of the third.
I'm not sure what Frampton was doing on Oscar Allen. Had him early in a good skinny side leading lane, but then just didn't swivel the head and turn and find him, and he went up the middle of the ground.
So Allen's got 33 goals for the year.
Amazing.
Incredible effort.
He's kicked 3 of the last 4 in the game. All of the last 4 goals West Coast way. How they win it out of the middle again. Another clearance. Kelly hands it to Foley, coming off the back of the square. Kicks wide for Petricelli. Takes the mark and the last of the sunshine just bursting through in the fading light at Perth Stadium. He kicks inside the forward 50. Waterman hits up. No mark. Ball spills to Jamison. Forward pocket. Snaps to the goal square. Frampton takes the intercept mark for Collingwood. Kicks to Mitchell in a dangerous situation. Hoff spoils for the Eagles. Down to Josh Dacos. Hand pass to Nick. Kicks out to halfback. Ginnivan's got to go. Rotham up on his shoulders and takes a superb one-on-one mark for the Eagles. He goes straight back to Witherden.
He puts it long, looking for Allen again. More at the back, good spoil. Spill down the gap. Hand pass meant for Sheed. Duck the Mitchell tackle. Handed off again. It came to Jinby. Got it from long. Jinby kicks towards full forward. Murphy.
Just a little bit
burst, tapping it through for a rush behind.
A little bit too deep there, wasn't it? Jinby's not having a shot there. I'd love to see that put just 5 to 10 metres shorter, and then it's going to be a contest that might not get rushed over.
So Collingwood by 21, 8.5 gone, third term. But West Coast, the last 4 of the game, they've kicked 5 of the last 6, either side of half-time. Moore on the kick out, goes long to half-back. Cox competes, no mark. Adams passing through, left to Sharon behind. Bazzo collects it, hand pass to Gaff. Hurried kick forward, puts it out on the full. So 3 injuries for the Eagles, all in the first half. Hearn a hamstring, Hewitt a head knock. A late hit from DeGoey, which is likely to end up with the tribunal, and West a knee injury. Here's Noble, goes long down the line. Hill flies, no mark, it's out of play. Defensive side of the wing for Collingwood. And now they've got their own worries. Cash Fodder on the boundary.
Yeah, it looks like it is a right ankle injury that's seen Bo McCreary leave the game. He's got ice on that right foot ankle area.
There was a tackle from Foley in, I think, the first quarter with McCreary. I reckon it was.
Ball spun back in. Both folks had a tap. Another one more telling than the other. Down towards Kelly for the Eagles. Got it to Yo. Kicks inside forward 50 again. Oh, Moore came up from the side, got hands to it, couldn't mark. Long tap in the direction of Jamison. Back by hand to Waterman. Now on to O'Neill. Hand pass into the ground. Met by Kelly. Throws it on the boot. Kicks the goal. The Eagles have kicked 5 unanswered majors. And believe it or not, it's bottom versus top. But there's a game on here at Perth Stadium. Collingwood 8-7-55. The Eagles back to within 15 points. 6-4-40. 10 gone in the third.
It was his clearance work, Tim Kelly. He got on the move, tested tackle.
Drew a couple of opponents and then popped it out to Yo.
Yeah, and then followed up. He's the one that kicks it from 30 out. Great work rate. Well done, Noah Long. Just a little ground ball bump on Noble.
And a really smart handball from O'Neill as well.
This is why I came over, Clint. I knew this was what's going to happen.
You said before that there's such a big game that this is going to happen. Yes. This has happened before, by the way, that the bottom team has beaten the top team. Last time, May 2005, round 9 2005, Collingwood beat West Coast, believe it or not.
They're going wild at Perth Stadium. Collingwood by 15 points. The Eagles with the last 5. Back in the middle, Cameron wins it down to Adams. Knocked back to Cameron, and he's tackled inside the middle of Perth Stadium.
Been big, Tim Kelly, today.
25 and a goal so far.
Pies by 15. Williams wins it down to Yo. Hand pass to Jinby. Handball back to Williams. He just knocks it away to Petruccelli. Inside the centre square. Kicks it deep forward. Moore tries to knock it away straight to Yo. He's tackled, dispossessed. Ball comes out. Noble onto it. Back pocket. Kicks out wide. Kicks it too wide. It's out on the full.
Throwing a punch, West Coast.
Yeah, and the crowd are loving it. They're feeding it off, aren't they?
O'Neill has got the footy, pressed up against the fence, right half forward.
Change gears, good energy. And then 2 men down on the bench.
He'll kick from 50 out. Just stepping back into the field of play. Decides to lay it up. Top of the goal square, Frampton. Stands in the hole, can't complete the mark. Comes out Collingwood's way though. Handball to Maynard. Handball to Noble. Takes some ground and bangs it into the centre square.
Duggan's up and he marks over the top of Chris. Every Eagles play gets in a massive roar. Kicks towards right full forward. Big pack up. It's down there for Jamison. Not to be. It was at the top of the square. Threw it on the right. It sat there for him. He misses. Putting it to the left. 6-5-41 to 8-7-55. Collingwood still in front. Nearly 13 gone in the third. Goodness me, what a chance.
Noble with the kick-out duties. He's going to go long out to half-back. Hands on it from Cameron. Spills through to Hoskin Elliott. Just bangs it into open territory front half. Witherden leads Ginnivan to the footy. Gets it for West Coast. Loose handball. Coughs it up. Adams for Collingwood. Handball to Hoskin Elliott. Handball to Ginnivan. Went one-handed. Left it behind. Jimby for the Eagles. Jimby rather. Hand pass through to Duggan. To Witherden to Yo. Sweeping handball to Sheed in front of the bench. Kicks the Eagles to half forward. Quaynor in the box seat. Takes the intercept mark. Half back for Collingwood. Pies by 14 points, 13 gone. Eagles coming with a rush.
Here's Noble taking the mark at Ryan half back. Hope for a contest, and we've got one. Bottom versus top, the top team being challenged. Noble kicks down the wing off the hands of Cox. He's able to gather again. Somehow works out a kick towards Bobby Hill, who's in space at right half forward. Takes a bounce, then a second, runs into goal and nails it. He's got his second. The Magpies get a much-needed settler. They've been up and about the Eagles. They kicked the previous 5. Collingwood now have their 9th. 9-7-61. They lead by 20. The Eagles 6-5-41. 14 gone in the third.
I think Liam Duggan went to
contest, didn't he?
Went to contest to support behind it and didn't swivel his head.
Dangerous play like Bobby Hill. You've got to be goal side, don't you? That pace he just shows.
Wheels.
Turns it on. And to be running that fast and still be able to have the, I suppose, skill and composure to knock that through. It's a beautiful goal.
He was happy with that too, Bobby Hill.
Yeah, lapsing concentration there by Liam Duggan.
Just eager to get around the contest.
4 of the last 6 weeks has been goalless. He's had a couple today. A lad from Northam back in his home state. And the Pies back up by 20. Middle of the ground. Neither ruck get a hand on it. Yo grabs the Sharon, kicks it out to half forward for the Eagles. Clever from O'Neill, knocks it further inside 50. Allen hitting up. Paddles it away towards Petruccelli. Bursts through, collects. Handball out wide to Clark. Oh, Clark with the big finish. The Eagles are landing punches. Collingwood 9-7-61. West Coast moved to 7-5-47. And again the Eagles close within 14 points. Halfway through the third term, Clark with the major.
Couple of really smart knock-ons, wasn't it? Just didn't get it out into space, and Petruccelli's ability to burst through, get the hands free, knock it out to Clark, and that's a great finish. Similar to Hills we saw just before, tucked in right against the boundary.
Good work by O'Neill, by Bailey Williams, just to keep it live.
And then, you know what I loved after that? Just the fight that you can see. Long, who's in his first handful of games, taking it up to the Pies defenders in the goal square. Just letting him know that we're not, the West Coast Eagles aren't going to be a pushover today.
Cox won it down. Jimby had it, lost it. Nick Dacos is into the middle now. Worked it forward to Pendlebury. To Goey on the burst from centre half forward. Kicks towards goal. He's going to miss. Hence the enormous boo that turns to jeers.
Roop's got to hold that one in.
Minor score to the left-hand side. 9-8-62 the Magpies. 7-5-47. 16 gone in the third.
He's not smiling fly, is he?
He does not look happy.
Duggan to Rotham at half-back. Goes long to the wing for Yo. Takes the mark and goes. Puts on the Jets. Kicks down to Waterman. Skips through marks at high half-forward. Hand pass to O'Neill. A fumble. Paddles it away to Yo. Kicks a spiral to the goal square. Frampton's up and knocks it through. In fact, it's hit the high part of the padding on the behind post, so this is a boundary throwing.
Good work, Noel Long.
Frampton tried to kill it over for a rush behind.
And smart from Yo as well. Just knew that it was outnumbered defensively, in the goal square. Put it nice and high and just let them create a contest.
We haven't seen that too much this year either. The Eagles from a kick-out go the length of the ground. Boundary throwing. Deep forward for the Eagles. Cox wins it down. Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Josh. He's tackled. Well, Tim Kelly taken to ground and a ball up. 30 out from the Eagles' goal. Momentum with West Coast.
Careful with the tackle.
They've kicked 7 of the last 9 goals in the game. The Eagles having fallen behind by a game-high 43. It's Collingwood by 15.
It's Williams who wins it down. Yo put his head over the football. He's tackled there by Nick Dacos. Quaynor lent support. It's been locked in, ball up.
Just need to spend a couple of minutes here just to give your backs a breather behind the ball. Just build up some pressure through stoppages inside your forward 50.
Inside West Coast forward 50. Cox won it down. Mitchell got a hand pass away for the Magpies. Quaynor couldn't take it. Kicked it towards the boundary line. Umpires will say, will board in. And the right decision too. There were certainly players around. Deep in the right forward pocket for West Coast. Heading to the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium to the left. Now broadcast position on the northern wing. 9-8 plays 7-5. Magpies in front. 18 gone in the third. Eagles moving better than a spot in the ladder at the moment. Williams won it down. Quaynor with a clearing kick. Bounces into the centre square. Bazzo put his head over it. Tried to tap it to Long. Immediately locked in. Magpies from either side. One was Johnson. The other one, DeGoey. Ball up the call.
So not only have we not seen West Coast competitive like this in a game, we haven't seen Collingwood challenged in a month.
Certainly not.
Quite like this. With King's birthday blockbuster next week. They've got a battle on their hands here from the ball up. Crisp. Hand pass to Mitchell for the Pies. Handball out wide. Nick Dacos can't pick it up. Pendlebury knocks it back to Nick Dacos. Eventually gathers. Gives it to his brother. Josh has run down. But there's a free kick coming back. And it's going to go Collingwood's way. Nick Dacos, the tackle lingered from O'Neill. And a free kick for Nick on the logo.
Don't see Nick fumble very often, do you?
Josh Dacos is in a scrap as well with Greg Clark behind all of that. And they're going to reverse the free kick. The Eagles are going to get it. Josh Dacos in a tangle with Greg Clark. And now Nick Dacos has got to throw the footy to O'Neill. The Eagles again go inside 50. Down towards Allen. Frampton tries to kill it from the back. Still a live footy inside 50. Moore's got it. Tackled by Allen. Pack forms and a ball up. 45 out from the Eagles' goal.
I love what Greg Clark's done today.
He's flown the flag, hasn't he?
First bounce at three-quarter time. After half-time, he went straight to DeGoey.
From the tap, it was one down by the Eagles. Yo's out after it, gathered it, got a hand pass forward. Kelly sockers it towards goal. Waterman tried to tap it on. Ricochets back towards Gaff. On towards Long, who misses. It was a great effort. Clever play in the build-up. Long just couldn't convert from about 20 out. He misses to the right-hand side. 9-8-62 Collingwood. 7-6-48 the Eagles. 20 gone in the third.
Forget the season context, just the story of the day. The Eagles are down to 2 rotations and have been since early in the second quarter. Taking it up to the ladder leaders as Noble goes long to half-back. Cox flies, no mark. Gaff, hand pass to Foley. Kicks inside 50 for the Eagles. Crisp, handball away to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to centre half-back. Yo attacks it, wins the footy for West Coast. He's taken high. Free kick for Yo.
Yo is playing possessed football right now. He's throwing his body in, breaking contests, and
Yo's looking inside 50, kicks it out in front of Jaden Hunt, collects right forward pocket, handball away to Waterman, he kicks off balance, and he's kicked it from one pocket to the other, out of bounds on the full. No change to the score. Collingwood lead it by 14 points, but the Eagles have kicked 7 of the last 9 goals. All the momentum with West Coast. 21 gone, third term. Collingwood by 14.
Here's Crisp. Will switch play immediately back to Quaynor in the left back pocket. Moves it beyond defensive 50 to Josh Dacos. Collingwood with numbers on the outer wing, but not a great kick. Kelly's able to gather for the Eagles on the logo southern wing. He's kicking the direction of Waterman. Murphy did well, got in front. Saw it over the boundary line and then gives Waterman a shove for his troubles into the fence.
Waterman didn't have to take Murphy over to that contest. He had Jaden Hunt all
on his own, wasn't he? And they're just eager. They're all really eager at the moment, aren't they?
Composure, I reckon, their front half.
The supporters responding like we haven't heard them this season. Blue and gold in at Perth Stadium. Another ruck with a tap down to Pendlebury. Got it as far though as she. Tried to work it to Yo. Couldn't do much with it under pressure. Ball on the deck. Diving on it, Josh Dacos. It's been locked in there by Sheed. Ball up will be the call. Right half forward for West Coast. Collingwood still lead. 9-8-62. The Eagles 7-6-48. 22 gone in the third.
Free kick for a push. It's going Collingwood's way, and Mason Cox is going to get it. Pushed out of it in the ruck contest by Williams. Gee, we even got an Eagles chant. I think I saw a smile on Adam Simpson's face. It's a day of firsts in 2023 for West Coast. Kick in the middle of the ground from Cox. Ginnivan competes in the air. Comes down to DeGoey. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Shoots goalward, but he's off target. Misses out to the left. Collingwood by 15 points. Time on third quarter. 9-9 to 7-6. 3 goals to 1 in his third term West Coast way.
Craig McRae, shake of the head downstairs for the miss as the Eagles work it across their back line. Duggan eventually moving it on to Rothen, who marks in the right back pocket. He's told to play on. Kicks towards the southern wing. Best position, Pendlebury. No, great mark coming up from in front. It was Kelly, and then he works it on to Long, who goes bursting away from the southern wing into the right forward pocket. He wants Waterman front position, though, bringing it to ground more. It spills out to Allen. Allen centres the football. Gaff marks. In line with the left hand behind post and about 40 out from goal.
Waterman contest, composure from Allen. The contest, Kelly up against Pendlebury.
He's one of their most experienced players out there, Andrew Gaff. Going 264 today. Dual Australian of best and fairest, needs to convert for West Coast. He's hit the right-hand goal post. That's a goal they've left out there. 9-9-63 the Magpies, 7-7-49 the Eagles, 24 gone in the third.
Just poked at it.
Yeah.
That's about as far as you can kick, Gaffy.
Yeah. he's
not a pennant, you know.
No. More from the kick out short to the back pocket for Frampton. I don't think anyone was expecting him not to have the trip, and yet he only just got it there. Hitting the post on the way through. The back pocket for Frampton. He goes long down the wing. Cox again competes in the air. Spills through to Ginnivan. Hand pass out to Nick Dacos. He runs and carries. Kicks for Bobby Hill. He takes the mark. Now Jimmy put Nick Dacos down after he kicked the footy. It's all okay. Dacos bounces back up. The mark was taken anyway. So Collingwood with the footy. And the Eagles' high work rate today. Numbers back. Filling up Collingwood's forward 50. And all this down a couple of rotations. Just 2 fit men on the bench.
It's gone 8 metres.
Hill to Adams, and then Adams the very short kick to Maynard. Crowd involved. Twilight fixture at Perth Stadium. Maynard runs and carries, bangs it deep to the top of the goal square. Cameron the target, spills through to Ginnivan, shoots over his shoulder, doesn't get there. Hunt's got it, bangs it out of the defensive arc for West Coast.
Quaynor did well in front of Waterman. Great mark.
So good in the contest, Quaynor, isn't he? He's just strong, plays out of his weight division.
Can the Eagles hang tight here? Quaynor thumping it into the left forward pocket. Big pack up at the back. It's spilled there for Johnson, who dribbles it through from left full forward for a goal. The Magpies get their 10th. 10-9-69 to the Eagles 7-7-49. Back to a 20-point game, 25 gone in the third. They all went. Johnson turned, gathered beautifully, ran it along the ground for a major.
I really like this forward craft from Johnson because he's in there at the contest trying to put some body on the West Coast defenders, but then just slips out the back. It's crafty, isn't it?
Absolutely. I don't need to go for this.
I don't need to go. There's people coming through, and he just kind of exits out the back of the contest, doesn't he?
Yep.
Really, really smart, crafty play. That's knowing that the other forwards are going to create the contest, bring it to ground, or at least take the mark. Mind you, he flirted with the post.
He did.
Got a problem with one of his fingers on his left hand, just having
taking the air out of the balloon, that one.
2 fingers taped together. Collingwood back out by 20. Latter stages, third term. Restart in the middle. Sheed soccers it out of the centre square. They're coming in off the wing. Markov and Gaff. In the end, it's Long who extracts it. Got it out for West Coast to Sheed. Hand pass to Gaff. Kicks inside 50. Allen forced to spoil. More tracking the footy. Lays a high tackle on Long.
Been good, Noah Long.
Put his head over it, grabbed the footy. Had Moore coming through at speed, and Moore got him over the shoulder. And now Noah Long can shoot from 50, just left of centre.
A little bit of Caleb Sarong in Noah Long, the way he moves and...
Fair to say, fresh-faced 18-year-old.
Yeah, crafty, turns up the contest, plays his role, crumbs.
Last pick in the national draft for the Eagles at pick 58 out of Bendigo. Had a hell of a start to his career from long range. He's got it. And the Eagles won't go away quietly. The Big Birds hang around. 8-7-55, Collingwood 10-9-69. Again, the Eagles close within 14 points for the second time this quarter. which is now 28 minutes old as we tick towards three-quarter time. Sharad Wallingham and Shane Woden.
Yeah, just drew the free kick well, didn't he? Wasn't sure if he was on his journey, but snuck it home. Bit of love for him after the goal from his teammates. It's good to see.
Just the position he got himself in to win that footy, though, was great, wasn't it? Attacked the contest hard, got to that really typical front and centre spot and stood his ground. Really, really nice work.
From the bounce to restart, it's Cameron who won it down for the Magpies, but Williams turns, gathers, hand pass for Duggan, couldn't take it. Cameron on the ground, bursting through to Goey, runs to centre half forward, kicks in the direction of Hill, too much on the kick at the back. Rotham gathers, ran straight at Hill. He's going to be in trouble here, Rotham, holding the ball. Ran straight at him, went to ground, made no effort to get rid of it. Free kick in the left forward pocket for Bobby Hill.
Work hard for their goals, West Coast, and then straight out of centre bounce.
And into his own teammate too on the way through. Just add a bit of extra insult. Bobby Hill with 2 goals. He's got 2-1. He's going to kick around the body. 35 out in the left forward pocket. Takes a deep breath. Steadies himself. Snaps. And kicks truly for 3. And we're back again to that 20-point margin. 11-9-75 the Magpies, 8-7-55 the Eagles. 29 minutes gone now at Perth Stadium. The entire playing surface now in shadow. A couple of minutes away from the final change.
We've got that out.
Luke Foley just couldn't get out of his way, could he?
No. It's disappointing for West Coast. They fight, they get close, they get within that 2.5 kicks.
How dynamic was De Goey through that midfield then, though?
It's really been the difference in them this year, hasn't it? Their work out of centre bounce, and he's a large part of it. 3 times they got within 14 points, the Eagles. On every occasion, Collingwood have answered. And it's back to 20 points again. Half-hour mark, third term. Restart in the middle. Williams wins the hit out. Ball spills to Cameron, though. Yo's got him. Played like an absolute weapon today as he gets a hand pass out here for the Magpies, Cameron. Sheed picks it off. He hands it straight back to Adams. Brushes by 1. Kicks inside 50. Myercheck stuck his hands up. Marks over the pack. And Myercheck's got it. 25 out, dead in front.
How's that not holding the ball at the centre bounce?
Yeah, it might have been a missed one there.
Oh, he just dropped it. Incorrect disposal. Paid umpire.
Again, just the dynamic power from Taylor Adams that time.
Just got pushed out too easily, Rotham.
Hasn't got one so far today. Brodie Myercheck, he does now. Settles this game down. Collingwood back out by 26. And to try and take a little bit of the sting out of this Perth Stadium crowd, who have been very involved today. In this West Coast Eagles story, Collingwood moved to 12-9-81. West Coast, 2 men down on the bench, an injury list as long as your arm, 8-7-55, taking it right up to the Pies, but it's Collingwood by 26, 31 gone, third turn.
Yeah, Myercheck just did a really good job of owning the, I suppose, backside of
he knew it was
Rotham, didn't he? He was going over the back, didn't allow Rotham to get in a powerful position at all.
Back-to-back goals for the first time in some time. 9 different goal kickers now for the Magpies. Bounce to restart. Cameron stayed down, won the tap, but it was straight to Sheed, kicked around the body, through the hands of Josh Dacos. Did well, kept his eye on the football with Jinby coming in his direction, gathered him from right half back, kicked to Noble. Marks right up against the boundary between right half back and centre wing. Northern side of Perth Stadium. Yellow boots in motion. He'll kick high. Be a big pack come to it at right half forward. Williams from the side got a hand on it. New players hitting the deck. One of them saw too. I think it's Cameron who's down. To go, he has the football right half forward. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Clever hand pass over the top. Wanted Adams. Rotham's done well. Was able to trap the football. Adams tries to take it away. Came out the back. Basso involved. Worked it on towards Hoff, and then he'll move it to Williams, who marks at left half back. The West Coast Eagles, Cameron is up and he's okay, but certainly looks a little bit sore as Williams will kick towards centre wing. Waterman attacks the football. Cameron underneath it. Can't mark. Spills down to Chris. Got it on to Moore on the logo.
Moore off balance, but still kicks inside 50 with penetration. Collapsing over the back. Foley didn't get a play on it. Pack forms behind him, and the ump says, I'll have it. 30 out from the Magpies' goal.
I also feel like West Coast are attacking the contest harder than they have all year today. I don't know if it's because they're up and about or something's happened that they've seemed more confident at the contest.
Williams wings it down to Kelly, who kicks out of a defensive 50. And again, warm applause as the West Coast Eagles half the quarter. They trailed by 26 at half-time. They trailed by 26 at three-quarter time, but it doesn't really tell the story of the term. The Eagles closed within 14 points on 3 separate occasions. Collingwood had the answer on each of them and lead by 26 points at three-quarter time. They haven't been outworked today, West Coast. They've been outclassed on a number of occasions, but gee, they've worked hard. They've always had numbers back. They've had numbers around the footy. It has been a spectacular effort from West Coast so far today, given all we know about them.
They had more injuries than points at quarter time, if you include Tom Barras, who missed through hip or quad, but officially hip is the line coming out of the football club. He was the late change, and then from that time, Connor West with a knee injury. He was subbed out with Clark coming in. Shannon Hearn suffered a hamstring injury, and then Elijah Hewitt out with a head knock. He failed the concussion test after a nasty collision with the shoulder of Jordan De Goey. Collingwood, though, have had 9 goal kickers running through them. Bobby Hill's got 3, Mason Cox with a couple. The others, Mitchell, Adams, Crisp, Dacos, Harrison on debut, Myercheck and Johnson, while for the West Coast Eagles, Allen with 3, and then singles to Long, Clark, O'Neill, Kelly and Sheed. Three-quarter time at Perth Stadium. It's the Magpies by 26, 12-9-81 to 8-7-55, wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
For exclusive access to extraordinary people, stream great chats on ABC iView.
I wanted to meet you for so long. Yeah, me too.
With intimate interviews from Louis Theroux and ABC Of.
Have you said anything that you've regretted?
Emotional insights on Take 5 with Zan Rowe.
How old were you when your father died?
And probing questions in Stuff the British Stole.
How on earth did you find this?
Great chats and fascinating facts whenever you like. Stream it all for free on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Long tap in the direction of Jamison. Back by hand to Waterman. Now on to O'Neill. Hand pass into the ground. Met by Kelly. Throws it on the boot. Kicks the goal. The Eagles have kicked 5 unanswered majors. And believe it or not, it's bottom versus top. But there's a game on here at Perth Stadium. It's down the wing, off the hands of Conks. He's able to gather again. Somehow works out a kick towards Bobby Hill, who's in space at right half forward. Takes a bounce, then a second, runs into goal and nails it. He's got his second. The Magpies get a much-needed settler.
Clever from O'Neill, knocks it further inside 50. Allen hitting up, paddles it away towards Petricelli. Bursts through, collects. Handball out wide to Clark. Oh, Clark with the big finish. The Eagles are landing punches. Sheed picks it off. He hands it straight back to Adams. Brushes by 1, kicks inside 50. Myercheck stuck his hands up, marks over the pack. And Myercheck's got it, 25 out, dead in front. Hasn't got one so far today. Brodie Myercheck, he does now. Settles this game down.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Earlier today, a win for Port over Hawthorn by 55 points here at Perth Stadium. It's a 26-point lead to Collingwood over West Coast. To our listeners in SA and the NC, at the conclusion of this game, you're off to Gold Coast versus Adelaide. And for everybody else, the Western Bulldogs versus Geelong awaits Ben Cameron to give us a preview from Docklands. Ben.
Yeah, thank you, Clint. 2 losers from round 11 go head-to-head in this fixture. The Western Bulldogs have only won 2 of their last 18 games against Geelong, dating all the way back to 2009. The stat of the week, it's not mine. Tom Liberatore, 205 games. He's had at least 4 wins against every opposition, bar Geelong. He's zipping 10 against the Cats. However, the Cats, they've lost 3 in a row. The last time they lost 4 in a row, way back to 2006, which was, of course, before their 2007 drought-breaking premiership. These reigning Premier Cats, they're using up their lives. The Dogs, hoping to keep touch with the top 4. The Cats with the top 8. The team news, no late changes. The subs for the Western Bulldogs, Lockie McNeil, and for Geelong, Sam Simpson. The domestic pet jewel is coming up next from Docklands.
Very good, Ben Cameron and the team to bring you that game at the conclusion of this, unless you're in SA and NC where you're going to Gold Coast and Adelaide. Cash Fodadar downstairs, what have you got for us?
Yeah, Adam Simpson taking a very, very long time to get off the field. He spent a fair bit of time talking to the forward group, and then as he's about to make his way off, he actually pulled Josh Rotham aside for some one-on-one advice as well. So he's only just made his way up the race now.
Shane, can the miracle occur?
I don't think it will occur, but it has been a great spectacle to watch the effort and endeavour from West Coast. And like we said a couple of times, the Pies finish is just too high. It's too high of a level that the West Coast players can't keep up to it. I just think they're going to maybe push away.
Clark went at DeGoey again.
Good.
He's done it every quarter.
Was one of the questions that when he did apply the hit from the shoulder to Hewitt, maybe enough Eagles didn't go to remonstrate with him, but Clark certainly made every opportunity a chance to let Jordan DeGoey know he'll probably be taking a couple of weeks off. We'll get some stats from Corbin in a moment. Final term underway. Cameron won it down. Straight out after it was Williams. Picked up by Sheed of the Eagles. Williams kicked though. Smothered. Well done, Nick Dacos. Spilled back though to Duggan for West Coast. Kicked inside forward 50. Allen as he marks.
I thought he...
The umpire said no.
Wow.
Good follow-up by Williams.
Great effort too by Moore to get involved in that contest.
Great effort from Moore. He's just straggler, isn't he?
Throwing up. Cameron won it down inside the Eagles forward 50. Hurried ball away was straight to Sheed. Kicked up in the air towards the left forward pocket. The bounce favoured Waterman. Tackled immediately. Got a hand pass to Yo. He's wrapped up by Maynard. They'll board up. Left forward pocket. Any numbers, Corbs?
The ones that stand out are the grunt stats. So ground balls, West Coast plus 13, contested possessions plus 14, clearances plus 12, and tackles, though, they're minus 19. But if you add them all together, the Eagles are still winning those 4 key categories, Clint, plus 20. So that'll be reason for optimism, I'm sure, for Adam Simpson.
Cameron was being held in the ruck contest by Jamieson. He gets the free kick for Collingwood and kicks towards the outer wing. Another free kick spotted. It's another holding decision, and this time Mason Cox will have it. Just shy of centre wing, southern side.
Plus 60 disposals too by West Coast, so their tackle count will probably be a bit lower than the Oppo with more ball in hand.
Cox kicks down to half forward. Johnson the target. Threw his arms back. No free kick. Falls to Yo. Slips out of a would-be tackle. Centre half back for the Eagles. Hand pass to Sheed. He kicks wide. Not 15, said the umpire. Finds Clark. He turns and heads down to half forward for the Eagles. And Darcy Moore, that's his bread and butter, floats through, takes the intercept mark. He's off and running. The Collingwood skipper kicks out into open space on the northern wing. Harrison gets there on the bounce. Hand pass to Quaynor. Chips it out in front of Myercheck, who marks 55 out. Left half forward for Collingwood. Crowded forward 50. Myercheck waits for Big Darcy Cameron to get down there to lend a hand. Kicks to him and Cox. And in the end, it's Bazo who takes the intercept mark.
The body work. Yeah, good.
Stood in front of him, comes up with it, and then goes to Long in the back pocket. He chips short to Sheed, still in the defensive 50 for West Coast. Pies by 26, 2 gone, final term.
Bazo, one of their teenagers for West Coast with plenty of promise. Sheed, one of their most experienced players. Game 150 today. Kicks towards the southern wing, and there's Darcy Moore again.
Jamison's got to play Darcy Moore from back shoulder. Don't sit in front of him, as you just work off and intercept the ball all day.
Just like he did then. Has the ball in hand. Centre wing, southern side. Kicks Collingwood back inside forward 50. Cameron had a free run at that, and he can take the mark. 49 out from goal, 45-degree angle to the right. Not sure what happened there, but something has broken down for West Coast, because Cameron was standing there all on his own and could just really, no disrespect to him, trundle forward and take the grab.
Yeah, good body work by Mycheck on Bailey Williams just to keep him out of the contest.
Yeah.
Just give him a free run at the ball.
So Darcy Cameron.
Another long run up.
Looking to be a 10th goal kicker for Collingwood today. He'll be kicking from pretty much right on 50. Kicks on its way. It's not going to have the carry. It'll land just to the side of the goal square. It'll bounce through, and I think it might have been bumped into the post, the left-hand goal post. The minor score it has.
Just not sure where Rotham is on Mycheck. If he's able to just to do it that quite easy and get the ruckman out of the way.
12-10-82 plays 8-7-55. 4 gone in the last.
Witherden long to half-back. Yeo in the pack. Couldn't take the mark. Spills through to Clark. He runs out of room. A late whistle from the late arriving boundary up. And a throw in high half forward for Collingwood.
Not good news. Hoskin Elliott looks like he's hurt his left leg.
Okay. Keep an eye on that. Already lost McCreary today. The Pies subbed out in that third quarter with an ankle injury and wasn't moving too freely at all, by the way, at three-quarter time. And Hoskin Elliott is still down on one knee and waiting for the trainer now, so the ump's not going to restart play.
Grabbed at his left ankle. Yeah,
just
rolls straight over. That's more the traditional outside of the ankle, which is good news because you don't want to see the I suppose, pressure one where it can snap the syndesmosis, which is really not good.
He's landed on Yeo's foot, hasn't he, in the marking contest?
Yeah, his day will be done, I reckon.
We've had some players hit the bench today needing some repairs, so the Eagles lost 3 by halfway through the second quarter. West with a knee injury. We've had Hewitt with a concussion and Shannon Hearn with a hamstring. And then on the Collingwood front, McCreary an ankle in the third quarter, and now Hoskin Elliott's rolled his ankle at the start of the final term. Collingwood by 27 points, 5 gone final term, and 2 trainers helping him off the ground. He's got his arms around both of them as he limps off, trying not to put weight on that left ankle. Umpire's going to restart play. Collingwood win it from the stoppage. Adams hits up Johnson. Just as everyone was looking at Hoskin Elliott hit the bench, the Pies are bursting away from the stoppage, and now Ash Johnson shooting at goal.
Clean, wasn't it? It was the release handball. I think it may have been Pendlebury in the stoppage. Again, to Taylor Adams being that offensive midfielder.
Oh, yeah, no look away. Again, similar one to G with Dacos.
They've kicked the last 2 of the game. After the Eagles close within 14 points, Ash Johnson to start the final term off right. Johnson goals. He's got a couple. And the Pies can exhale. 33 points, Collingwood's lead. 6 gone final term, 13-10 to 8-7.
Good player, isn't he, Johnson?
Yeah.
Just that hybrid forward. Got speed, got hops.
Serious hops.
Well, that's a great take. He kicked that high.
And he seems to have composure in big moments as well.
And a very handy pickup. Is he a mid-season draft?
He was mid-season last year, wasn't he?
Last year, you're right. So he's been on a list just over a year.
Taking it pick 3 in the 21 mid-season.
Oh, sorry, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Out of Halls Creek, which is big footy factory too. A lot of Halls Creek lads in the league.
Got a funny story about a guy who used to coach some kids from Halls Creek.
Give it to us at the next stoppage, as Collingwood should get the clearance through Mitchell, out towards Noble, back to Mitchell on the southern wing. Hand pass inboard to Maynard. Straight away handed on to Cameron towards Adams. Oh, he's under pressure. She got him. He got the arms free. Strong from Adams. Worked it on again by Chris, kicking towards left half forward, and he spots Mycheck. He's about 70 from goal. Could have gone across half forward if he wants. Instead, he'll put it in the direction of Mason Cox. Had hands to it. Spilled down to Johnson. Straight into the Kelly tackle. He's been wrapped up.
So a friend of mine was coaching Palmyra, and the boys at Clontarf, when they come down, they try and get them into the community, as we see the stoppage unfold.
Cameron won it back to himself. Tried to get a hand pass out. Spilled the ground. Taken by Duggan. Got it out to Sheed. On in turn to Gaff. This would be like a cricket story. You've got to go every breaking play. Kick beyond defensive 50. Markov couldn't get there. The Eagles gather. Bursting away Petruccelli. Breaks the Chris tackle. still going. Second bounce, one-on-one inside 50. Heads in the direction of Allen. Great spoil Moore. Allen tracks it to the boundary line. Moore's right with him. What a one-on-one battle that will be and could be for years to come. Moore gets high fives from his teammates as the attendance is officially 41,713. Sharrett?
And they try to get the young fellas who come down from country to get to know people in the city. So he's coaching him down at Palmyra and he goes, this kid is absolutely incredible player.
33 points, the Pies lead. Boundary throw in. Jamison can't collect. Spills to Cameron. Hurried kick out wide. Duggan can't mark. Still a live footy inside the northern boundary line. Ginnivan tries to jump on top of it. Spits out to Mychek. Hand pass to Chris. Handball away to Nick Dacos and the Pies are out downhill. 2 bounces. Hand pass to DeGoey. Gives it back to Nick Dacos. Through centre half forward. The kid's a star. Kicks it on the run. And quickly turning defence into attack. Nick Dacos on the end of a spectacular team goal. He doubles up and the Pies put it on ice. 10 played final term, 14-10-94. West Coast 8-7-55.
Fitting that Nick Dacos finishes off with that goal because this young kid was probably as talented as Nick Dacos, so that story goes. Anyway, he goes down and plays some footy at East Freo, dominates down there, doesn't end up getting drafted or anything, and my mate catches up with him and they're chatting. He said, mate, you know, what's it like playing up footy up in Halls Creek? He goes, mate, there's 22 more of me up there in the team. I'm the worst in the team.
I'm the worst. Goodness me. There is some talents in parts of this state and indeed right around the nation.
Dacos on the run is very good. He's so balanced.
Cameron wins it down. Williams chases it though for the Eagles. Got it. His hand pass intercepted by Noble. Has it for the Magpies. Goes bursting up the outer wing. 2 bounces. Kicks into the right forward pocket. He wanted Johnson who marks.
Play on.
Play on.
Play on is the call. He's not worried about that because he'll wheel around and kick his third. No problems at all. And the Magpies, they can bank the 4 points now. A valiant effort by the Eagles. But it's all black and white as we close in on the 11-minute mark of the last. 15-10-100. So the Eagles have conceded 100 plus or 100 all plus points in the last 9 games now. West Coast 8-7-55. As I said, 11 gone in the last. It's Collingwood by 45.
Another mid-season pick in Noble. Try to mark it. Bazzo, would have loved to see him kill that contest and get the ball out of it.
Yeah.
Out of the area.
A great awareness from Johnson as well. That, you know, often you see players get tackled by the opposition after the play on call from the umpire. No such issue as he just turns onto his left and slots it through.
Gee, the trainers are helping Hoskin Elliott all the way into the room, so he was even limping into the change rooms assisted. So that ankle looks pretty sore. Rolling it earlier in the quarter. The Pies have pulled away. They have the game in their keeping. Out of the centre square. Nick Dacos tackled, lost it. Hunt kicks to centre half forward for the Eagles. Punched away by the Pies. Pendlebury onto the footy in the middle of Perth Stadium. Hand pass to Mitchell. Handball to Nick Dacos. Kicks for Johnson. Makes contact with Foley in the air. Ball comes down to Rotham. Hand pass out wide for Witherden. Short kick out to Gaff, and Gaff pokes it down the wing for Waterman.
Johnson a little bit worse for wear. Off the ball as Waterman pops a hand pass to Gaff, who's crunched by Murphy. Turns the ball over. Oh, Murphy, a great tackle. The ball jarring free. Now with Ginnivan. Should have gone short. Can't find Harrison, though, into the left forward pocket. Taken there over the boundary line by Bazzo. There'll be a throw-in. Cash Fodadar downstairs.
Ash Johnson in a lot of trouble holding his right thigh. The Collingwood trainers and physio are actually telling the umpire you have to stop play here as the ball was getting closer and closer. And Johnson he's not moving. He keeps pointing again to that right thigh hip area.
It's caught probably.
I think Ginnivan actually looked up, looking to try and kick it to centre forward. Saw Johnson lying on the ground and thought, gee, I've got to try and do something different. Oh, that's a...
Yeah, that'll be a bleeder.
Gee, so that's the knee basically from Foley straight into the right quad of Ash Johnson. Talk about various levels of corkies, lads. That looks like it's on the severe end.
That's up there.
Whew.
The worst corky I ever heard was Preston Giacomo, and he had to get it. Oh, actually, and so did Matty Rosa. Had to get operations on it to release it.
Ouch.
I remember the Rosa. Yeah, I remember the Rosa story.
So he's pushed the trainers away and he's certainly not moving freely, but at least he's walking off by himself.
Yeah, that's going to hurt tomorrow.
Battle.
Probably hurt for 10 days, I reckon.
Battlefield today. Ankle injuries for McCreary and for Hoskin Elliott. Now a severe corky for Ash Johnson as he limps off, so Collingwood have 2 rotations. The Eagles have only had 2 since early in the second quarter.
It's a tough game, isn't it? Oh, it's brutal.
Western knee, Herner hamstring, Hewitt concussion. They lost Barris before the start with a quad injury. The Pies by 45 points. Doesn't really tell the story of the game where the Eagles closed within 14 points 3 times in the third. We've got a free kick here from a ball up at half forward for Collingwood, and it's over the shoulder in the ruck contest, so Williams to take it for West Coast.
Williams works it on the Hofffield, kick down the commentary wing, and is it out of bounds on the full? It is. 45 points, that margin. Hoskin Elliott's back out of the rooms. He's been on one of the bikes downstairs. As Maynard moves it short, finds Adams. You get what you deserve, but you would feel that if the Eagles get blown away in this game, the scoreboard wouldn't reflect what a contest it has been, as Adams kicks back inside attacking 50. Rothen went up, brought it to ground. Ginnivan over the top, Hoff at the back, worked it out. Came to Witherden, then to Sheed, now to Rothen, kicks beyond defensive 50. Good mark. Was behind Maynard, plays on. A sweeping hand pass inboard to O'Neill. Hand passes towards Waterman, tackled by Murphy straight away. Murphy has been a tackling machine today. No one has got by him. Wrapped up Waterman, took him to ground. Ball up just forward of the win for the West Coast Eagles. Collingwood by 45 points. 15 gone in the last.
Cox wins the hit out and then tries to lay a tackle as he palms it straight to Yo. His hand pass a turnover anyway to Josh Dacos. Gives it to Mitchell. Floats a kick down the wing. Ginnivan competes in the air. Spills to Adams. Off balance. Kicks back inboard. Cameron run at best. Hand pass away to Nick Dacos. Has a bounce. Dacos from 50 out. Miss kicks it to the top of the goal square and it lands on the chest of Foley.
He's first miss kick I've seen from Nick Dacos
ever.
He's human.
It's out to half back for Clark. Hand pass away to Hunt. Hunt's under the pump. He's tackled by Crisp. Ball comes out. Crisp tries to knock it away to Noble. Noble grabs it. They've got him. And a ball up 60 metres out from the Collingwood goal at right half forward. Pies by 45. They've kicked the only 3 goals in the last.
Can't speak for you. I was just about to put down the goal in the book.
I went like this too.
This arches the back.
That little zig that he can make to buy himself time is incredible, and then get rebalanced.
One down by Cox, got it to Adams. There's Nick Dacos again, back to Mitchell, kicks towards full forward, marking Myercheck at left full forward for the Pies. It's a tightish angle for him. Worse than a 45-degree angle to the left. He'll kick from no more from 25 out, though.
His offensive game, Nick, is elite.
Myercheck snaps. He's got his second. Collingwood run continues. This quarter, they've been able to now kick 4 goals. 4 goals won, and they've kicked the past 6. 16-10, 106 Collingwood, 8-7-55 the Eagles. 17 gone in the last. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Clint Wilden alongside Corbin Middlemass with you in commentary. Our experts Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden. And the Eagles fans have said we've seen enough.
It's good work by the Pies there from stoppage. A couple of times too. Played before, a couple before. You had Elliot take a great mark here. I think sometimes too they get a rush of blood. Understand they want to go quick all the time, but he handballed inside with really no awareness in front of the ball and an eventual turnover.
Williams back in the middle, wins the hit out for West Coast. Sheed puts his body on the line and he's taken high. A cash on the boundary.
Yeah, believe it or not, Ash Johnson's actually doing some run-throughs and might even be about to come back on.
Wow.
Oh, and there, Don, take off.
After that heavy corky that he received earlier in the term, was down, delayed play. There's a cash shed. You could see him in a moment. Sheed goes wide to Duggan. He shares it with Hunt once and now twice as Jaden Hunt, high half forward, has it for the Eagles. 18 gone, final term. Short kick not, 15, said the umpire. Says play on. to Noah Long, who eventually pushes it out back to Duggan. Hand pass to Hunt. Deeper entry. This time, Cox backfilling the hole, takes the intercept mark.
Great defensive mark, isn't it, when you've got someone who can impact both ends of the ground like that.
Collingwood by 51. The Eagles were within 14. Time on in that third term. We're now 19 minutes into the last. As he goes long to a contest at half-back. Hunt for West Coast. Hand pass to Bazzo. His handball a turnover. Adams for the Pies. Gives it to Cameron. Handball away to Mitchell. He links up with Nick Dacos in the centre square.
To Frampton. Plays on by a hand to Markov, possessor of the best moustache in the competition. Now bursting away, Nick Dacos to Goey. Sends it inside forward 50. Hoff. Good mark defensively. Ginnivan right behind him. He goes short. Able to work it to Yo. Yo kicks beyond defensive 50 to Allen. Got crunched by Frampton. Will get a free kick. Taken high. He'll have it at right half back.
I had one of your teams in town last week, the Dockers, and I see Andy Brayshaw's trying to enter the sweepstakes for the Mustaka.
Oh, he's working on it.
He's got a bit of a way to go.
Yeah.
Has he started growing one?
I think he's trying to.
I've been a big fan of Markov's ever since we declared it the best in the comp, didn't we, a couple of years ago?
Elite.
The Gold Coast. It is an elite tash. Out towards Waterman, who marks. He looks like one of those, the black and white silent movie, the villains. Give it a twirl.
The other one I think he looks like is the weightlifters. Circus weightlifters.
That's right. Bazzo kicks the left half forward. That's a fine mark to Quaynor, and he drags it down at right half back.
Honourable mention to Zach Tui as well.
Yeah. He's in the mix. He's on the podium, but Markov's still a standout. Collingwood have it at right half back. They lead now by a casual 51 points. 19 gone in the last.
Oh, kicks to a pack, and Myercheck arrives late to clunk it. It was about the fifth one there. Takes it. Logo, southern wing. Short kick inboard to Adams. No one stands the mark, so off he trots. Hand pass out to Myercheck again. 70 out half forward. Kicks it deep forward. Bobby Hill leaps up. Gaff stands in front of him. Big game. Ginnivan grabs it. Handball to Johnson. Just too far out in front of him. Johnson tried to volley out of midair.
Just snapped it himself.
Couldn't get that Cork's leg up. And behind. 52 points. Collingwood's lead. Time on final turn.
Ginnivan was trying to be unselfish. As the Magpies going to have to set up again with West Coast moving it towards right half back. Oh, Chinby's kick was dangerous. Adams almost intercepted against Petruccelli. Mark defensive point of the centre square. Moves it on towards Sheed. Petruccelli continued his run towards the commentary wing. Sheed will kick towards right half forward. Going up O'Neill. Won it down against Noble. Spilled to Petruccelli. Kicks to a one-on-one at right full forward. Allen going backwards against Frampton. Couldn't mark. The ball's over the boundary line for a throw-in. Right full forward for West Coast. 16-11, 107 the Magpies. The Eagles are going to face a 10th straight defeat, the worst in club history there. 8-7-55, 21 gone in the last.
Cox wins the head out down to Maynard, kicks it out of the defensive arc for Collingwood. Rotham punches it away for the Eagles, but straight down to Cameron of the Pies. Hand pass under pressure, somehow got it out to Pendlebury. Floats a handball forward but turns it over. Waterman for the Eagles. Hand pass out wide to Witherden. Feeds it further forward to Sheed. Wants to give it back to the former Lion. Witherden links up with Bazzo. 70 out right half forward. Kicks inside the attacking arc. Clark gets a run at it. Spills the mark. Falls to Long. And the teenager snaps it goalward. Hits the base of the goalpost. Behind. 51 points. Collingwood's lead. 22 gone final turn.
Kick beyond defensive 50. The Eagles get their first point of the quarter for the Magpies towards left half back to Pendlebury. Moves it into the middle of the ground. Cameron onto De Goey. Hand pass cleverly over the shoulder. This is Adams. Runs to centre half forward. Kicks to a one-on-one at full forward. Waiting underneath it or bounced off the head of Hill. And then taken across the line by Foley. Hill can't believe it as he hurt himself in that contest. He's gone to ground as the Eagles move it short to Waterman and now to Sheed and back inboard. Still inside defensive 50 to Duggan.
He's going to swing his kick out to half-back for Rotham. Rotham goes long down the southern wing for Clark. He turns and looks for Oscar Allen. Hugs it to his chest between wing and half-forward. He's told to play on, so Murphy runs straight at him. Allen kicks laterally to Petruccelli. Front edge of the centre square. Collingwood have kicked the last 6 goals. After the Eagles got within 14, his kick's a turnover and Quaynor takes the intercept mark. Also, there's probably not a team in the league that wouldn't fade in the final quarter when you're playing with only two fit players on the bench.
Absolutely.
For really the better part of 3 quarters.
Because they've played fast all day, West Coast.
Quaynor long to the outer wing, and that'll be an intercept mark. Taken by Hoff. He looks inboard, and Duggan's got it. Outer edge of the centre square.
Duggan to Rovham. Still just forward of centre wing. There is no one in the Eagles' defensive half. Rovham kicks into the left forward pocket. Going up to take the defensive mark is Crisp. Milestone game for him. 200 consecutive. He's never missed a game since moving to the Magpies from the Lions. To Quaynor, who marks it right half back and sends it down the southern wing. Decent battle on here. Gathered by the Magpies to Myercheck. 50 out from goal. Nick Dacos is all on his own at full forward. He can take a bounce. He'll punch the air and then he'll kick his third.
Just come on.
And he'll send it into the Collingwood fans at the Farmer Freeway ends. Party time for the Pies after being challenged for 3 quarters of this game. Magpies a chance now to give their percentage a boost. 17-12, 114 to West Coast. 8-56. Their lead now 58 points. 24 gone in the last.
Yeah, he just managed to sneak on. Well, not sneak on. His bench.
The rotation
came. You'd love that, wouldn't you? The ball's transitioning down the other side of the field, and you've got an open paddock in front of you, and a beautiful kick in front of him by Myercheck. The celebration on the way through the goal square is a nice touch.
I think we saw Jack Ginnivan do that here, didn't we? At the other end of the ground, celebrated before popping it through. A cash Fodder on the boundary.
Yeah, Nick Dacos snuck on there, and it was actually because Bobby Hill was sort of forced to come off with the physios due to a sore left ankle from that contest in the goal square earlier.
Thanks to Cash. Last 7 goals of the game now for Collingwood. A pulsating third term. The Eagles trailed by 43 in the second quarter. One stage they'd kicked 6 out of 7 goals in the game to draw within 14 points. They got it back to that margin on 3 separate occasions, and then Collingwood putting their foot down, finding another gear, and they've left the Eagles behind. Free kick for a ruck infringement back in the middle as Williams goes short to Duggan. Duggan will swing his kick all the way out to Dom Sheed. Short kick inboard for Yo. Of course, attention for the Magpies turns to Monday week. The King's birthday blockbuster at the G. Kick from Yo inside the forward pocket. Kelly had a play on it. No mark. Falls to Noble. He's tackled and will have a ball up forward pocket for the Eagles.
Tyre sign has gone up on the Collingwood bench for whatever that means, as Cox does the right work and back over the boundary line for another throwing. Still in the right forward pocket for West Coast.
I think that means we don't have any tread left on the tyres. Time for a pit stop.
26 gone. Magpies on their way to an 8th straight win. Cameron won it down, went straight to Sheed. He'll snap around the body. It's through for a minor score to the right-hand side. It's always offline. 2 behinds now scored by West Coast in this quarter. 8-9-57. They trail the Magpies 17-12, 114. 26 gone in the last.
They're all tough games when you're on the bottom looking up. But Adelaide, Saturday twilight, the next assignment for West Coast away. So they hit the road. The Crows still to play tonight. It's coming up next. For those of you in South Australia, the NT at Marara up against the Suns. On their last 3 at the venue, and for everybody else, Western Bulldogs, Geelong. Big round 12, Saturday night footy still to come on Grandstand AFL. The exiting kick out from the Pies. Out to half back, and we've got a couple of back-to-back stoppages. Still 70 out from the Eagles' goal. Cameron works his way to the front, wins the hit out down to Adams. Hurried kick down the wing. Nick Dacos leaps up in front of Foley. Can't complete the mark. Duggan tracks it. Jams it on the boot. Bouncing footy to half forward, but Cameron set up for Collingwood. Short kick to Harvey Harrison. The Pies' first debutant, by the way, since Ash Johnson. He was there last for today. The South Australian down to half forward for Mason Cox. Competes in the air, no mark. He's been held. Advantage applied. Crisp takes it. Kicks to Myercheck, top of the goal square. Superb kick on the run. Best and fairest winner a couple of times over, Jack Crisp, in his 200th consecutive game. And that's the way you want to be fed as a key forward. Myercheck top of the goal square to try and make it 3. To put it out to a new game high. Myercheck converts. Puts the finishing touches on it for Collingwood. 3 for Myercheck. Collingwood's lead stretches out beyond 10 goals. Pies 18-12 to West Coast 8-9. A 63-point lead for Collingwood. 29 gone final term.
The percentage is actually very important with the tightness of it so far this season.
A couple of games clear too, aren't they? Up top.
1 game now of Port to Adelaide.
Yep.
So Port just the 2 losses. They won again today by, 55? Is that 4 guys? Glenn have kicked 3 goals for Collingwood today.
Yeah, Johnson, Dacos and Hill.
And now Brody.
And now Myercheck. Sorry, they were the other ones.
It's a good spread, isn't it? Again, from this Collingwood team. They've now kicked the last, 8 goals of the game?
Yes. About to win an 8th straight game. As Cameron wins the tap. Ricochets down to DeGoey. Eagles fans haven't lost their taste for booing him after the hit on Hewitt. Crisp couldn't gather. Williams picks it up off the deck. Gave it to Petruccelli. Tried to work it in the direction of Sheed. The Ginnivan was there and he socked it forward. Sheed has to turn. Gathers it left half back for the Eagles. Hand pass to Hunt, then to Duggan. Look to work it in the direction of Jinby. Takes it. His hand pass intercepted. Pendlebury read it well. Hand pass over the shoulder. Comes to Ginnivan. Kicks towards Taylor. Taylor marks 50 out from goal. Goes towards full forward. Almost a good mark then to Foley. Cox knocked at the ground. Gathered again. Hand pass was meant for Harrison. Instead went across the boundary line at left full forward for a throw-in. 18-12, 120 Collingwood. 8-9-57 the Eagles. 29 gone in the last.
Dan Wall was always going to break. Just at what stage it was, and this is the last quarter. They've dominated the Pies.
Cameron palms it down to Crisp. He's locked up straight away, so they'll get to 11-1. If you look at the last 9 teams that have been 11-1 in this competition, 1 lost to prelim. The other 8 made the grand final, 5 of them premiers, and 3 the runner-up. So get ready for a deep September, Collingwood fans. From the ball up, Josh Dacos hooks a kick goalward but misses the whole set. Out on the full.
How good's next Monday, King's birthday?
Oh, yeah.
Match up.
Prime time, isn't it?
First versus third. And you do have a bird in both camps, Ollie. Absolutely. Kick beyond defensive 50 by the Eagles is marked by Cameron, who has it at left half forward. No, it's going the other way. Free kick for the Eagles to Oscar Allen. Bit of a healthy percentage boost for Collingwood too, from 133%. I'll go up to at the moment 137.7. Possibly a little bit more as the Eagles work it around their back line through Hunts, and he'll look to move it short to Foley. Kicks beyond defensive 50. This is Rotham. 138.4 now. Collingwood's percentage. Kick down the southern wing for the Eagles. Maynard at the back. Won it down to Murphy. Gave it to Quaynor. Now to Pendlebury. Some right half back. Pendlebury goes on a short run. Looks to stab it back inside defensive 50. And this is Noble who marks, and he'll go back to right half back, and Pendlebury can have it once more.
Short kicking game for Collingwood. Pendlebury to Quaynor against the boundary line southern side. The Eagles depleted early. Really their season in a nutshell. They had 3 unavailable in the early stages of the second term. Quaynor long down the wing, and Mason Cox takes a juggled mark. He's not in a rush, the big fella, to get up and take his kick. In game 101, short kick to Josh Dacos. Got the footy in hand as the clock bleeds out. And the climb continues for Collingwood. They take another step with a 63-point win over West Coast to make it 8 in a row. And a club record losing skid for the Eagles extends to a 10th game.
They stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
It was a battle for 3 quarters. The Magpies led by 24 points at quarter time, by 26 at the half, and by 26 at 3-quarter time. But from that point onwards, it was all those in black and white. West Coast kicked just 2 behinds in the final term as the Magpies ran on to win by 63 points and they pick up an 11th victory of the season. They're comfortable at the top of the ladder.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as old barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Goal kickers for the Magpies. Johnson with 3, Dacos with 3, Myercheck with 3, Hill with 3, and then singles to Mitchell, to Adams, to Crisp, to Harrison on debut, and then Mason Cox bobbed up with 2. While for the West Coast Eagles, Oscar Allen kicked 3. There were singles to Long, to Clark, to O'Neill, to Kelly, and to Sheed. The Eagles' injury list is again out to 17. But Collingwood will have some challenges from this game as well. For the Eagles, Tom Barras, the laid out quad or hip, depending on wherever your news comes from. West with a knee problem. Elijah Hewitt with a head knock. Shannon Hearn will miss some time with a hamstring injury. While for Collingwood, Beau McCreary with an ankle problem. Hoskin Elliott with an ankle problem. We would also have to say there would be some concern for Hill with an ankle. Possibly Johnson with a cork. And of most concern, Jordan De Goey likely to miss a couple of weeks for his bump, the high bump, which saw Elijah Hewitt out with the head knock. He chose the bump, he left the ground. He meant Elijah Hewitt couldn't resume the game. So problems for Jordan De Goey. Collingwood, though, 6 goals, 3 in that final term to 2 behinds to runaway 63-point winners. Let's get the thoughts of our experts and the votes in about 2 minutes. Shane Woden, Sharad Wellingham.
It was a good game for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
It was hyped up to probably a one-sided affair, but it wasn't turning out to that way. And what I think, Corby, you said 3 times it got to within 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just there. They just couldn't quite bridge that gap, West Coast, up until 3-quarter time. But I thought their effort and their intent today was so much better. Probably needed to change gears in their ball movement to just maybe take a bit of heat out of the game at times too throughout that. They did, and they just probably played on just energy where they were at. But Collingwood, we know how good team they are. They just put the foot down and changed gears in that last term.
Yeah, it was just a matter of the Collingwood class. We know what we're going to get from them, but super impressed with the West Coast effort. And a congratulations goes to Dommy Sheed, who played a magnificent game in game 150.
Votes, gents?
Yeah, pretty even for
even contribution from the Pies.
Yeah, it's really tough. Okay, give 1 vote to Darcy Cameron. I thought he's tremendous today. It was an even ruck battle, but I thought his game was tremendous and had a big last term. 2 to Dommy Sheed. He's 43. Had a lot of it in the last, but the game was dead and buried. And then the 3 to Nick Dacos with his 30 and 3 on 600 metres gain.
So 3 to Sheed in the Christian medal and the 2 in the 1?
2 to Tim Kelly and 1 to Elliot Yeo.
So Nick Dacos picking up the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Repeating full time at Perth Stadium. Collingwood winning 18-12-120 to West Coast 8-9-57. If you're in South Australia and the Northern Territory, you're off to the Gold Coast and Adelaide. Everybody else, the domestic battle between the Western Bulldogs and the Geelong Cats should be a beauty. Thanks very much for your company. Great to have Corbin Middlemass over here in the West. Grand